welcome to the latest episode of Deconstructing Damsels. I'm your host, Jessica, and today we will be discussing In the Heat of the Bite by Lydia Dare, and our guest is Courtney from the Cult of Domesticity, and I hope you enjoy it. We have a few things to get out of the way, though. First, thank you so much to my patrons, Dee, Kerry, Marlene, and the latest, Kelly from Boobies and Noobies. I appreciate all your support. It means a lot, and I thank you for your trust. Also, there is a little bit of end of the year stuff going on. I would appreciate if you would please fill out the form in the show notes. It's a Google form because it's all anonymous. I'm not keeping any of the data, just the basic demographics and stuff like that. So I can find out what you guys want and don't want, what you'd like to see changed, what you guys like, if there's anything that would make you be a Patreon. If you are a Patreon, what would you like to see? Stuff like that. It's just an all-around kind of listener survey, and I'm just trying to get an idea because 2021 will be here not too long from now, which seems crazy after this year, but it's only a couple months away, and I'm trying to kind of plan out next year's activities and what we can do, and I want to make sure that everything's a-okay and what you prefer. And there are some long form, short form. It shouldn't take more than like 15 minutes. I'm just trying to kind of make it easier so I can get, just like I said, some basic raw data to kind of run with. It will be going until November 30th. It may sound like I always ask like I'm asking for feedback, and I am, because I want to make sure you guys are enjoying the show as well. And if you have any suggestions, please put them in there. That's the last question. Just put what you want. I made sure like most things are paragraph style. For gender, please put whatever pronouns and whatever information you guys, how you want to be presented, because I'm also trying to be more cognizant of that as well. I know I'm not perfect, and I'm sorry. Same thing with the name thing. There was a thing going around on Twitter the other day talking about how if you can say this, that, and the other. I do my best. I'm not always perfect, but I do try ahead of time to read name and say names, but names always trip me up because names are the most respectful thing I can give you, and I always feel really bad when I don't do it right. And now, time for the review. This is from Joelle, who is from Mouse and Weens, and I want to thank her especially because she's done a lot of promoting the podcast, and it means a lot. So she goes, Deconstructing Damsels gives a great twist on romance and shines a light on the feminine characters in the stories, which is a breath of fresh air. The host, Jessica, has a fun outlook, has on wonderful guests, and does a great job of getting us motivated to read with a new perspective. Thank you so much for that, Joelle. That means a lot, and I value that so much. Okay, one last thing. So this episode is going to be kind of long. I would normally put it into two parts, but it's going to be end of the month, and I don't want to like have you guys have 3 episodes at the end of the month. You're already going to have 2 because after this one, there is the third of the episodes, and that one will be starring Sarah L. Blair, who is a writer. And I want to go ahead and, acknowledge that. I hope you guys don't mind a longer one. We had fun, and there's a lot of cut stuff that will actually be in the Patreon. I hope you guys enjoyed that part of it, too. It'll be going up sometimes over the next month because there's quite a few little bits and pieces that I'm going to release, so you guys don't have like 35 minutes of hearing, random stuff. Okay, on with the show.
Oh, that was on point. So nice. Go do your intro before I...
Okay. All right. So, I am here to talk about In the Heat... No, wait. Yes. In the Heat of the Bite. With Courtney.
We did the right one this time. We can't mess this up.
Well, to be fair, I opened up both of them because my Nook and I were having conversations about which picture goes with the book. Because I was like, no, I want that one, but I touched the wrong one, and then it opened it, and I was having issues, okay?
It's fair. I bought a new Kindle. I'm very excited. It's not here
yet. I want to get one of those eventually. I gotta get one of those one day. All I have is my phone.
So, well, the problem is Amazon has already connected my Kindle to my Kindle Unlimited, that like the Amazon account.
Yeah.
I don't have it yet. And I use the library a lot, so I was like trying to renew books and like send them, and I was just like, it's like sending it to Courtney's Kindle too. And I was like, no, it's not here. It'll probably never be here for like 12 years because Prime Day occurred and the post office is backed up. But
I was gonna say, and there's a lovely pandemic running through this country.
So I have I discovered this great thing via Instagram. There is a COVID romance novel. It's like 18 pages.
Is that Kissing the COVID or whatever?
I don't remember what it's called, but Kim from People Are Wild just sent it to me. Like, it was this girl who, it's free on Kindle Unlimited. I don't remember what it's called, but and you're watching this girl, she goes, guys, should I do it? Should I do it? And then she goes through and like, she goes, I'm gonna chug like 4 White Claws and then I'm gonna read this with you. I have 2 dogs near me for support. And it's basically, the premise is scientists working on a vaccine for a cure for COVID, and this guy shoots himself with the thing, becomes COVID personified, and then there's a romance.
Oh my god.
Not even the best part. The author, because the girl reads she's hilarious. She reads the about author stuff. The woman was like, I think in the UK, and she goes, she took this quarantine time to write about what she has been doing the most, worrying about COVID and having sex. And I was just like, I'm not, like, good for you. And, like, she's, like, lives in, like, county in England with her husband and 18 ferrets. And I was just like, what? First of all, you wrote a 20-page, so basically a term paper romance novel about COVID. Good for you. But that's too many ferrets. They've watched them have sex. Like, that's just weird. Because there can't be one place in your house that isn't full of ferrets.
Well, I mean, not even that. Like, could you imagine giving, like, 18 ferrets all the attention they would need? Because ferrets are, like, animals that need lots of attention. Because they will end up, like, in the back of your stove if you're not careful, so...
What the fuck?
Do you know that?
No. I'm also just picturing if you don't have them contained, when, like, she says she's been having a lot of sex during COVID. Good for you. There's a lot of COVID babies. Fair. But, like, that's just, like, I'm just, like, they're either watching you or they're gonna accidentally touch you. And I'm not about this. I'm just like, Also, how do you keep your house clean? That's too many damn ferrets.
Yes, and I love ferrets. Like, I had 2 ferrets growing up. I love them, but 2 is enough. They have friends that way.
Where do you keep them all? Like, the houses in Europe are smaller.
I know. Like, we have a pretty large 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and it's like, I think it's like close to like 575 square feet here.
Oh, my apartment's
compared to home. Yeah.
And it's the same.
Like, yeah, and so it's like, there's tiny spaces and like they don't come with kitchens.
Oh yeah, that's weird. But yeah, I thought
I have a kitchen. Well, I almost have a kitchen now, but yeah. Go ahead.
I thought you would just really enjoy the fact that people are writing COVID romance novels.
Because it's like, really?
If for you,
Too
I would read that.
soon.
I would read that for you. I might be drunk by the end of the 20 pages.
That's one of those times where we need to have like a bottle of like whiskey just nearby.
You know what? We'll have to do it filmed so we can do dramatic readings of it.
That would really be really good. That would actually be a really good
I would do on your
YouTube or
Patreon.
something.
We could do it for Patreon and just like get blitz and read it.
That would be brilliant. If I can get lit, I will.
Guys, if you want this, please tweet it. Please tweet drunk COVID romance novels. Because, I mean, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Oh, my favorite part, the girl ends it, she goes, guys, should I rate this on my mom's Kindle Unlimited account? It's not even hers! Her mom's got such weird recommendations!
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It just reminds me, I was looking up a body pillow once, and apparently there's really great pregnancy ones, and that all of my Amazon suggestions were for baby shit. I was like, no, I just wanted a pillow.
Oh my god.
Oh,
we're not right in the head, Courtney.
No, but it's also been like 2.5 hours since we started this shit.
Yeah, so guys, like what you're getting now is us in mid conversation. So you can imagine what it was like the first 2.5 hours or so.
We haven't talked since the last time we recorded, like this in depth. So,
Yeah, it's been like
what, we recorded
a
in July?
while.
June, July?
Yeah, I think it's July. Yeah,
So, yeah.
because it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
right
because I
before
was
you
just.
started going back to school. I mean, to work, whatever.
Yeah, lots of things have
School work.
happened. Um, it's spooky season. I've bought a
Which
lot
is
of.
Halloween month.
Yes, I've
Yes.
bought more plants. That's how I've started to deal with this. I just keep making bread and buying fucking plants. The plants aren't fucking, I should say. They're just. I realized I've doubled the amount of plants in my apartment since
But
COVID.
when you said fucking plants, I was just imagining like
Plants
that
fucking.
episode in Adam's Family when Morticia's talking about how her plants like were falling in love and they basically strangled each other and killed each other. I may have watched that on YouTube recently, so
I mean,
I watch really random things on YouTube now. So Adam's Family is actually pretty normal.
I've been watching an Irish gamer, cooking things, and then. Sorry, there's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You heard it?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's not the worst one, but my favorite British YouTuber, which is he does top fives, so it's spooky season, so he's been posting a lot of those. So then I watch those and get really paranoid and go to sleep.
Well, see,
Why do I have insomnia? I don't know.
you only watch something that's terrifying. I don't know why you would have
His
insomnia.
voice is so soothing though. Like that's the thing is like I'm watching scary shit, but then he has this like calm British voice. So my brain is very confused. They're like, I like the sound of this, but we're talking about creepy things on Ring like videos, like Ring doorbell videos, and I'm like, this is why I can't sleep.
Like I have a bunch of like the ones where like they spoken aloud Reddit ones because
Oh,
I can put that on because I can put those on in the background and do something else. Like today when I was making I made a Google form
love him.
for like listener feedback and stuff. And so I've been working on it the past couple of days and I finished it earlier today. And I put and I was listening to Reddit while I was doing it because I was like, I don't really care what's going on in that, but it's background noise. But then earlier today I was also watching like I was finishing watching like something on like Myanmar's like royal family and the Burmese royal family.
Oh, those are
and,
fucked up.
yeah, and like it was an absolute. It was on. I was like by Absolute History, and it was like a documentary
Oh,
or something.
I love them.
Yeah, and so it was actually a really good one. I fully recommend that. It was a really interesting thing that you learn about like how the royal family would fit in the modern society and maybe how it wouldn't. It was really interesting talking to the grandchildren and the great grandchildren of the last king.
Mm-hmm.
But then like I've also like I'll watch things like the dodo and animal rescue videos. But then I'll turn around and turn on my husband's account and we'll watch things like Jim Sterling and Alison Pregler and,
Oh yeah.
and his like he does the artwork and the some of the gag stuff for the Amanda Hagen. So we watch Hagen and I don't like horror films, so this is somewhat of a problem for me. And then we'll turn around and watch like The Rap Critic or we'll listen to like Song versus Song or all kinds of weird stuff.
I can't do horror movies as much here because I live alone.
Oof.
And I mean, I can justify so much of the sounds, like I have neighbors and I can hear them, but I'm also paranoid as fuck sometimes.
Understandable after living in an apartment again. Understandable.
And I'm just
Valid.
I did finally get a vinyl thing to cover the one window that you can see in because I'm on the first floor.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like people are watching me sleep anymore, which might have been why I was getting paranoid because it did kind of happen during quarantine. They were working on the pizza place next door, and I didn't wake up late. I woke up at they started working at 7:30, which is technically illegal, and I'm not about it. But I woke up at 8:30, and I realized they had put stuff in our little alleyway between, and you have to go around the back way to get there, not through the front because there's a fence. And I was like, you totally could have watched me sleep. Huh. I feel really uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
So I bought the vinyl stuff to put over so you can't see in that window, and it's so refreshing. It's so nice. Also, I've added more plants in that window, so it is harder to see. There are 2 large plants in that window.
You're like, look here, I'm making this a complete impossibility for you now. Bye.
I mean, they'd have to, like, if you've seen the vinyl things, you have to actually, like, go up and put your face to it. Yep. So if you're doing that, you're clearly trying to look in here, and I'm not about it.
Yep.
And I'm calling the cops, and I'm escaping. So, bye. But let's talk about this before we get
I'm on the 3rd floor, so people can still look in my windows, by the way, because of the way that I'm like in a hilly area, so like all the different like, so the way the houses are set up here, it's like there's eight apartments in each like part of the building, and there's like six parts together, but it's like there's 2 on each floor. So like I'm the 3rd floor up, but our windows are so big in Europe. They're not like regular sized windows. They're huge picture windows that open up to let in the air because they don't have AC. And so people could see me, and I was just like, I'm not about this life.
It's not fun when you know people can see you.
Yeah. I'm not on that kink. That's not my kink. So, and I don't want it to be other people's kink when it comes to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Valid. I thought. Okay. We'll go to the book now.
Let's go. Yeah, before we get further distracted.
Us distracted? Never. I don't know what you mean.
Never.
Okay. So I have the worst time trying to say this character's name. It's like Rhiannon?
Rhiannon?
Yeah, okay. Because, like, I see the last half
We can Google this shit.
Yeah. I think that's how Lucy called it last time on the last episode. She called her, because it's like Rihanna and then it's Rhiannon, so we're gonna go with that. I'll pronounce it wrong every time, just like I do every name on the planet. So that's
Rhiannon. Rhiannon.
Okay, I'm calling her Riri.
Yes, let's just call her Riri, like Rihanna. I'm here for this. She is badass as Rihanna, so
right. Like she was like the ultimate weather witch of ever.
I just love she zaps people with lightning. I'm here for this. There was like Scottish brogue happening. There's a witch like hitting people with lightning. We're during the Napoleonic Wars. Let's go.
Exactly. And there's like a whole coven of witches that all have like different powers.
And they just like overpower these. They like just oversass these men. And I'm here for this.
Yes, and like they don't care. They're just like, accept it or not. Bye. I mean, like you see it. Like Reed does that all the time.
Yeah.
She's just like, and
I just love like how the book starts though. So Ree comes down to London from Edinburgh to make sure her sister's doing okay because her aunt was like, I'm gonna marry her off. Nah, 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 nah.
And Ree's like, excuse me.
Well, also, we should mention, only the firstborn woman in each family is a witch.
Which is what I called the Harry Potter issue. It wasn't exactly like Harry Potter, but you know how like Lily had it and then Petunia didn't?
Yeah. So you have like this, her aunt is jealous because she's not a witch. And
calls it like an abomination multiple times.
Mm-hmm. What is her sister's name?
Ginny.
Janessa.
Yeah.
And Janessa's just like, it's cool. It's a great time. I'm cool not being a witch. Which I was like, that is, like, they have such a good sister bond that made me really happy.
Yes. And it's like, and they're like biological sisters versus like her coven sisters, because she's got a bunch of different sisters when you look at it that way.
Yes.
But like Ginny and Rhea are just like, whatever. We're close. Go away.
They just want each other to be happy, which is all anyone could ever ask.
Yeah, and her aunt's husband doesn't know about like the magic in the family, so she's like pissed off and like, you know, working against her for that.
Yeah. I think I like it later in the book. Rhea goes off and goes, "You're just upset because you married a man who was tight with his purse strings. 'Cause she just wanted to marry rich and better." And I'm just like, maybe he knows you're money grubbing, girl. Maybe that's why he won't give you the money.
Right? Maybe he's like, this was a good marriage, but not that good. Because like I haven't been able to figure out how they're launching her into society, because like I can't figure out like if they're ladies, because it doesn't really mention her as a lady.
You can still have a season.
Yeah.
So you don't have, like, so they're probably gentry upper level.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but it's like,
so
usually most of these are like gentry, not, I mean, they're like, lords and dukes and all that.
They're nobility, they're the aristocrats. Yeah, so they could be upper gentry, which at this point were marrying in. This is right after the period I studied, so I do know shit about this. You're welcome. So, it was like they could launch her, like give her a debutante, and this is like this period we're thinking Jane Austen style dresses. So if you think of Jane Austen period, so you can marry up, and all of that. So if she wanted to launch her into society, bringing her to London, easy way to do it, easy way to probably marry her off to a man who might have issues. Or if she's very beautiful, you can marry her pretty well. They seem to have a good dowry behind them.
Yeah.
I mean,
their dad seems to be like of good standing in the like scholarly world and stuff. So he's got some like value in that.
Yeah, and it seems like she has good connections and all of that. So it's possible. I don't remember if they said what her aunt was. If she is of sorts.
Because that's why I couldn't remember either. I know the aunt's name is Greer, and I was like, wow, no wonder you're bitter.
They do mention, I think they might be either lower aristocracy or gentry, but upper gentry, but still. So yeah, we have the first opening scene is like this ultimate battle between Rhea and her aunt Greer, because Greer's like, your sister's already asleep, you were not waking her. I'm like, well, she's an adult, so why would it matter? But okay.
And she's like, I think she's just around the age of like being able to marry without it being suspect, because she's really young.
She might be like 15, 16.
Yeah, I think she's like 16, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty young,
because
compared to some of the other people in the book. So in the book
Bree
series,
is what, 20?
Yeah.
They mention later. I did enjoy why her aunt rationale taking Ginny to London. Quote, because in Scotland, Janessa cannot escape the taint of your creation, Rihanna. Her aunt sighed deeply, as though dealing with her was the worst sort of trial. And I'll expect you and whoever you brought with you to return to Edinburgh as soon as possible. I'm certain your fondest wish is for your sister to find happiness, end quote. So it's just basically being like, you are scandal, now fuck off.
Yeah, because she's like, my husband is not aware of your particular affliction, blah, blah, blah. And then, because right before that, she says, and I prefer to keep it that way. Keep your powers in check when he or anyone else for that matter is present. Your mother never managed it, but you are still young enough to learn. And she's like, I would never ever accept that my sister was born an anomaly, and you and your little coven of witches will never have my approval. In fact, from this point forward, I plan to limit your access to Janessa so you can't inhibit your sister's chance of a societal launch. So it's like, okay, wait a minute, though. Let's back this trolley up, because, like, the coven that she's talking about, for those that haven't read the books, the coven have all started to intermarry pretty, like, well-established, like, aristocracy and gentry. Like they've established this stuff, so they've got name and they've got power and they've got land.
Yeah.
So Greer is just mad that she can't use that just to establish this early on in the book, because Greer is a scumbucket, to put it mildly.
You're not wrong.
I may have a few feelings about Greer.
What?
I wouldn't know why.
I mean, I don't. Oh, we'll get into it.
But so like,
yeah,
Greer is kind of like stopping it, and Rhea gets really pissed off when she leaves the house. When she leaves her aunt's house.
When she leaves, you mean while she's at her aunt's house?
Yes, but like the big temper tantrum comes when she's in the square, when she's at the and she's in the park.
I have it. Where is that?
Because I was like...
Yeah, so this is where we meet our male lead.
Yep.
Matthew Hockett, Earl of Bloodswell. Great earldom, Bloodswell. Oh.
I know, right? Like, they're so good about these clever little things with these names.
And when they explain it, it completely makes sense. You're like, oh, I like it. It's not for no reason. So she's standing in the middle of the park, creating this storm, and he describes her, quote, "That's when he saw her. Standing directly in the middle of the fray was the loveliest sight he'd ever seen in his life. Her black hair was slicked back with water, but it trailed all the way down to her waist. Her gown was pasted to her body, sodden with water. She laughed loudly and sardonically as a bolt of lightning flashed at her feet." End quote. I was just like, oh?
I know. She
It's
was
so
like,
good.
it's like, so her power reminded me a little bit of Storm.
Yes.
And like the X-Men and stuff. Like she's got that kind of power. Like she can just manipulate whatever she wants, whether it's, if it's some kind of like weather or anything related to that kind of like air and that kind of current, she's got control over it. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes she does.
Yes.
Depending on her mood that day.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, he was just like, he sees her and he's like, damn.
Right? He's like, well, first he thinks that like she's insane for being in the middle of the place, or daft as he calls her. But then he's like, damn, this is pretty interesting.
Because remember what not Victorian, what is it? Regency dress. So picture Jane Austen. If those dresses are wet, you're going to be seeing everything. Some things.
It's like you've always seen in all the Kate Winslet version of Sense and Sensibility, that dress.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like before this where there's more layers. So when she's going to be cold, she's going to be fucking cold.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. She does not have all those layers and layers and layers of clothes that some of the other people.
Yes.
And she's also like, she's got money, but she doesn't have like a ton of money. So her clothes, like she's got money, but like she doesn't have money that like her friends have.
Yes,
right? Like the married friends have.
She's well off, but not like can crazily go and spend all this money.
Yeah, she's not like Blair, because Blair is the Battleborn witch, and she comes like she's in a dirt poor situation. So Rhee is well above that, but she's also below those that have married above their station. So it's a very interesting world.
Yes.
And it helps that like her coven sister is I think Marquess. Yeah, that's what it was.
The friend she's staying with is a Marquess.
Okay, I couldn't remember because like I know one of them ends up I think as a Duchess, so I can't remember which one.
I think she's the Duchess, because the opposite of Earl. No.
Yeah, because like I know in one of the books there's mentions of Duchesses.
I forget. It's the I forget what the opposite of an Earl is. It might be Duchess.
But like
that's the non-easy one to remember.
Yeah.
So he like comes up to her. He is a knight of old. I love that they always mention how old he is.
Yes. Like it's mentioned all the time. And I loved it because it was like that was the opposite of like the Angel and Buffy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they didn't really like they always talk about him being old, but it was kind of like he's old like as if he were like 35 and not 235.
Yeah, he died during the Crusades.
Yeah.
So that tell you how old he is. And they're talking about Richard the Lionheart, so that's like 12th century.
Yeah.
We're in the 19th century. I think they say exactly he's like 650.
Yeah, somewhere years. Around there.
Like, yeah.
Because that's his vampire years. That doesn't count his years that he was alive before that.
Because he's like, what, 2030 at like when he died?
Yeah, somewhere around there, I think, yeah.
He comes up to her kind of concerned because she's just standing in the storm by her lonesome. The scandal. Like, blah, blah, blah. She's alone. No escort. How dare you? So she lies and says that she's Mrs. She's married. Because if you're married, she wouldn't really have to have an escort as much.
Right.
Because she's already been claimed. Sexist as hell. I know. But
But 19th century Britain.
Yes. Context. And he immediately goes, yeah, no. He goes, I don't know why she's lying to me, but okay. But she's seen a vampire before, so she's like, shit, I gotta get out of here.
She's like, yeah, this isn't great. I'm not a fan. Can we not say we did?
And so she runs away. She's very upset. Her slipper gets caught in the mud and wrecked. Which shoes then were all custom made, so that's fair. Like now
Yeah.
your heel breaks, you're like, oh darn it. You know, you can pay to get it fixed, but it's often not worth it. Then it would cost a lot.
Yes. And not even just cost loss, it would cost time too, because you'd have to go get something made and you'd have to have it done quickly, and so extra cost on top of the cost. It's not like going to Walmart now.
No. So, how are we going to refer to him? Matthew or Bloodswell?
Matthew, I think, is easier to remember, honestly.
Okay. So, Matthew immediately knows that she's a witch. He's met witches before. He's actually met her coven before.
Uh-huh.
Because they gave
And, like,
him...
her coven, yeah. I mean, like, she's met her coven and the prior covens.
Yes. Because the prior coven gave him a daylight ring so he can walk around in the sunshine.
And thankfully it doesn't sparkle.
No, thank God. Oh my God. These are like the best vampires because they're like, there's enough lore, it's not awkward, there's no
like the
weird
vampire
shit.
brothel. Yeah.
So.
The vampire, like, gentleman's club brothel /
Oh my God, I thought that was a
combo.
great idea though.
I know, it makes so much more sense.
Yeah. And he realizes that Ree is staying with Lady Ensford or her friend Kat, who his new charge, McQuarrie, had been courting, but she had married Dash, the Marquis.
Who was a wolf.
Who was a werewolf.
And so, okay, so the next episode that I'm recording was Sarah actually discusses McQuarrie and his connection. So
Okay.
it explains a little bit more, but I realized I had them backwards. And I was like, oh well, whatever. It's like
It is what it is. So that's basically so.
But I'm telling you because that way you know that in the heat of the bite is.
Yes.
I think is because the next one is it happened one bite. That's the next one in the series, or the one that explains what happens to McQuarrie, and it explains the whole thing about meeting like when Ree met another vampire and stuff.
Ooh, exciting! I've already rented the next book from the library, the Wolf series from the library.
It's so good.
It's let's put it this way. I cackled my way through it, and I have no problem saying it is smart, it is witty, it is great, it's a good time. But
I like Prissy. I like Prissy's tale.
I think
that's the second one. It's one of Benjamin's brothers. So
okay, so
Elizabeth, Elsa, but whatever.
Oh, okay,
and Benjamin. So it's the one after that from the Wolf series.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go ahead.
But basically, so we're also dealing with the fact that Kat married Dash, and McQuarrie is very upset. He almost died. He's now a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And so this
and
is
he was
all
deeply
happening.
in love with Kat. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in love with Kat. This is all happening with Matthew is training McQuarrie how to be a vampire now.
In the Gentleman's Club.
Yeah, the Gentleman's Club, which is a whole lot of fun things.
Brycey, which. If anyone listened to the first episode with Lucy Hudson, it's like the equivalent of the werewolf society, the Lupin Society, and the werewolf side. It's just made for, vampires and fucking and sucking.
Yeah. So you also have this weird relationship because McQuarrie still loves Kat, but Kat's married to Dash.
And deeply in love with her husband.
Yeah, they're both Kat and Dash are very deeply in love. But then there's the vampire werewolf thing happening as well. So on top of the courtship issues, but it's done so well. You're here for it.
Oh yeah. The lore in this series is amazing, I think.
Yes.
Like the way they've got their society built and the layers, and if you remember I told you, before we were recording, sometimes we have conversations that relate but don't get mentioned anyway. So in the episode, the first one, Tammy, I can't remember her last name. She has the fairy series with set in the Regency, but she's the one that came up I think with some of this world, because you could definitely tell because of the way that so one of the duo was best at history and the other one was best at the romance and the and the like paranormal elements, and then
Mm-hmm.
they kind of like merged together and created the team.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can definitely tell the one that really, really liked to read paranormal romance a lot when you get to some of this lore. And then I think, and then the other person like did some research to find it, find out
Gotcha.
how to make it work. Because you can definitely tell the way they've kind of incorporated the two for this. And I
Yeah.
mentioned that because of the vampire werewolf, like that's an obvious like antagonistic relationship, but the way they did it in this series is very interesting. I think how they have it.
Yeah, it is. It's not they're fighting. There's like a nice peace. There's animosity, but there's majority peace.
Yep.
Um, so he is. I can't remember. Is he found outside? Like, cause he follows her home.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Dash's like half brothers who he can't claim as his half brothers due to uh, aristocratic like
Yeah. Like his
betting,
one brother is a viscount who's a
and he's got
rogue, and then the other two are just
two twin brothers.
gentlemen.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
he has they have like a conversation. And he's like, I was just trying to make sure she got home okay. Na-na-na-na-na. And then there's like some. I'm gonna go West Side Story. Some snap battles of retorts, and
Yes.
then he has to go find McQuarrie, which is like half of his battle is like he's courting Ree, and then he has to go like contain McQuarrie half the time.
Yes. It's like literally having like McQuarrie is like having a teenage kid.
Yes.
Like it's like all the hormones are pumping through. Now he's in a situation he didn't want to be in to start with, but he knew that he kind of had to be in it at the time um because like Matthew requires consent. Like consent is big in this
Mhm.
book and in the series. It's a huge part of everything.
Love it.
And yeah, and so like in the story with that McQuarrie is in the most of, or the start of this for McQuarrie's journey anyway, you see that. Like you see like the communication and all kinds of stuff. So it's really interesting, and how McQuarrie ends up in the position she's in also causes a lot of conflict, sometimes somewhat in the coven as well.
Oh yeah.
Because like
Um.
when you read the story, it's a whole thing.
So he's on a way to find him, but we could probably skip most of that. But we do get a good bit of knowledge of how Matthew has kept his title and his position
Hmm.
because he runs into someone he knew.
Someone old now, by the way,
Yeah, old.
like grandfatherly age or like great grandfather possibly with some kids.
So what his ruse was, he would spend one generation in London, one generation in Derbyshire, so that way by the time so it'd be like, "Oh, I was born in London, grew up there." Like so it would explain the generational gap. And I was like, "That is hella fucking clever."
Yep. And like imagine doing it for like, I mean imagine literally watching London grow and fall. So imagine like how easy it would be during like the 15 and 1600s especially.
Oh yeah. He was there for the Fire of London. Um, you know, he was after the Normans. What? You have the Glorious Revolution, you have the beheading of you have so many things, the Scottish uprisings, you have Shakespeare,
Hmm.
Queen Victoria,
And
the Tudors. Oh, it's such a good time. I mean,
Elizabeth.
yeah, you have the plagues. Not as much of a good time, but
No.
um
Oh, that gets talked about more in the It Happened One Bite as well.
oh, okay.
The plague era is, and Matthew are actually discussed in that. Just if people want to discuss the interesting realities of living in the plague, that's in the next book, or the next book I cover, but the first book before this one.
Gotcha.
Backwards a bit, but
Back-
you know, whatever.
Reverse.
I'm best at.
But he finds McQuarrie there, and we actually find out why he turned him.
Hmm.
Matthew tells McQuarrie, quote, "I did not make you so you could accost unsuspecting women at Vauxhall. In case you've forgotten, Alec, I made you because it was that or let you die by the frozen waters of Loch Calvary, and because you asked me to save you," end quote. I was just like, oh. So,
Matthew doesn't play with anything. He's very straightforward and honest in everything he talks about and communicates with.
except for the fact that he's a vampire. But besides that, like with most people, he's very straightforward, which is refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure the like non-supernaturals probably would be a little bit freaked out if he was a vampire.
True. They get invited to a ball, which Kat has already predicted she would see him at.
Because she's a seer in the
Yes.
coven. Like, she's got the, like, most passive power, but she holds all the power.
Yes, very true. So we go the next night to this, is it the Pickerting?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the one it is.
Yeah, and I love, so Ree is like, she's heard the term a crush before, like for like a ball, and she's just like, there are so many fucking people here.
She's like, yeah, I don't blame her. I'd be like freaked out too if you had that many people.
And she's only really going to try to find her sister. Also, she's not very happy with the dress that Kat picked out for her because it displays her ample décolletage.
Yes, and she's just like, can I put my shirt back on now?
She's like, can I get one that's like more shirt, more dress? Like, I would prefer not to have a nip slip. Because there is I skipped over, but there is a funny scene where they're in the carriage and she's just like not having it, and Dash is sitting there like not making eye contact.
Because he's in, because it's just like, this is awkward.
Your wife's best friend's tits are half out. What do you, like, where do you look? And you're
like,
in a carriage, so things are moving.
And it's not a big place, and they've got like those, like, the like lanterns are not exactly great. Like, they're not like you can turn them down like you can like dimming the light in our overhead light in a car. So
yes,
it's there or not there.
Yeah,
but it was there.
Ree does find Ginny, and her sister does seem to be having a good time. So she's like, okay, fair. That was for the car. But she does tell her sister she'll like allow her to like, she's like, if you're having a good time and you consent, I just want to meet the guy before you agree to be married with him, Which,
fair. I mean, older sister, absentee dad,
basically her
someone's
mom.
got to do it. Yeah, like someone's got to keep an eye out for her.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really sweet moment because she was just like, I just want you to be happy. And she agrees to stay for the whole season, so that way Ginny isn't there alone. But guess who shows up? Matthew.
Yep. Oh, and like this was the time when she was like dancing with she's been dancing with like Dash's brothers and stuff like that. They've been escorting her around and stuff like that. And
yes.
Yeah. So like Matthew's already a little bit like, huh?
He's jealous.
Yeah, like, excuse me?
Excuse me? That's my lady, that's not my lady?
Exactly.
There should be a word for that. That's my lady, but not my lady.
Mm-hmm.
In these books.
My unclaimed mate.
Yes. So this is how he describes her. Quote, she was lovely from the top of her head to the bottoms of her feet. Her gown showed a scandalous amount of skin, which only made her seem even more beautiful to him than she had the first time he laid eyes on her. He feared she would look beautiful even if she was covered from head to foot in scratchy wool. Unfortunately, she drew more than one eye towards her as she crossed the room. End quote. I was just like, oh.
And like she's unaware of her beauty and stuff.
Yes.
And not in the romance, like the romance fallacy of she's so beautiful and like she doesn't know it, but like she's really not aware of it because she hasn't been raised around women, and she hasn't been raised around women. Like she's been raised around her sister, but like not a mom, like not someone that could like show her how to be that way either.
I think it's also she just had more concerns.
Mm-hmm.
She
like
couldn't be bothered.
Her little sister, a weird ass coven.
Yeah. Matthew is hella jealous of Radbourne, which is Dash's brother, who's kind of...
The Viscount.
Yeah, the Viscount, who's kind of, scandalous himself.
Because, of course, it would be fun if no one was rogues.
Yeah, rogues are a good time. But, he's watching them dance, and Radbourne says, I think, my favorite thing. He goes, I believe he'll rip off my head if I don't relinquish you soon. Or at least make a good attempt of it.
Fair.
Because I believe he probably was. He was just like, I will cut a bitch. And Rathorn,
Uh-huh.
you are that bitch.
Uh-huh. He was like not here for it. And he didn't even realize what was going on entirely either.
That's the
Like
best part. He's just like, I'm mad.
and he's like, I don't know why, and I'm like, cause you got feelings in your heart and your pants equally right now.
You caught the feels.
Mm-hmm. And they're going everywhere. They're going all kinds of haywire right now.
Yeah. So Matthew asks Rhea to dance. She goes, let's take a turn around the room, because she goes, if I refuse him, I won't really get someone else to ask me to dance, and I would like to dance some more, which is fair. It's a good
Yeah,
time.
cause I mean, like she doesn't really get to do it in Scotland at all, unless
Yeah.
I mean, unless she goes to like one of her friends' balls, but like she doesn't have all the suitors coming, to meet up with her the way the other ones do.
Yes. So he insults her. She slaps him.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos ensues.
Yes, the punch bowl.
Oh yeah, what was it? Was it hail in the punch bowl?
Yeah, and like there was like lightning running through the room, and
And an icicle goes down. What was it? Which lady? It's like one of the like. Oh, the
yeah, I'm
lady.
looking for it now.
Yeah, we'll talk about her later. But an icicle falls between her boobs. It was just like, this ball is wild. I'm here for it. Let's go. And he doesn't understand what he did. He's like, she's ran away from me 3 times. I don't understand what is happening. Meanwhile, Dash is like, you're calling tomorrow to make amends. You're going to have to come meet with me. Because he's already like, my wife loves her. I'm going to protect her with my body and my illegitimate brothers. I will fight you. And I'm here for it.
Because it's like, and I think it's the first time that Reese ever had like a man stand up for her in that way. And yes, I mean, like we don't always need it, but it's nice to have that security that in a society that values men more than women, that you have a bunch of men that are willing to stand for you. When her father is the most absentee man on the planet. I mean, he might as well be dead most of the time.
What, he makes an appearance actually twice, and he's dragged there both times?
Right, like it's both times by, I think, by Macquarie.
Yeah.
And so like you see that and you're like, okay.
It's at least both times by a friend.
Yeah.
Who is like, nah, we doing this.
Right. And like this is like, it's a thing. And I love it. I love how the fact that they stand together for her.
Yes.
Even though they just really met her for the most part, because like Kate got married when like I don't think they were there for the wedding, because some of the weddings the covenant's not always around for. So like in Elspeth, like they were mostly all there, but then like in Kate's they're not, or in Kat's, whatever, Kate's, and then like I know in Blair they're not all there. Like it all depends, because they all have things they have to do within their coven. So
I know she was there for Kat's wedding because she hit Dash in the ass with a bolt of lightning, because they were.
That's right.
They were gonna go out celebrate their wedding night. She goes, he was too handsy, so she zapped him.
I love her for that.
So we have the next morning, and I love this. Thorpe House was a bit of a madhouse or a doghouse, depending on the view. And his brothers just show up all the time. They're just there. They eat all his food, and he's like, do you not live places? Stop coming here. For this.
And they're like, yes, but you have the better food, so.
Which is exactly what I would do.
Me too. I'm like, look, if I'm living someplace and they got like decent but not food, and I'm a werewolf, I'm gonna go with the food.
Yeah, because they eat a lot more.
I'm just gonna walk. Yeah, like I'm just gonna go run, because they're gonna run off all that food they ate at their mama's house anyway. There to get to their house, like 10 doors down. So
yeah. Interestingly, the guys, his brothers, don't know that Kat and Rhea are witches.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna ruin it. They do find out that Rhea's a witch, but her power's kind of a little bit more noticeable.
Yeah, the whole lightning bolts whenever angry.
Storms just keep popping up all over London. It's fine.
I said I'm just over her in a cloud.
Yeah.
Which makes me think of Bewitched a little bit for some reason.
I'm here
I
for
can just
it.
see something like Andorra would do.
Mm-hmm.
Andorra would do. I can just see that.
They're
Over,
hanging out in one of the
Derwent.
parlors because Kat and Dash are probably working on making little wolves. That's what, anytime they're like off doing something, I'm like, they be fucking.
Yeah.
But a gentleman had threatened to call and he shows up. And I love that they have like cards. So you drop off your card. I'm like, oh, that's classy. Imagine if your friend showed up and you weren't home and they just like left a card in your mailbox. We're like, I came to see you.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that'd be great.
Be fancy as hell.
Better than a text sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it would cost a lot more and it's kind of more wasteful, but still. So
I don't know what's it called. There's that one thing, Zazzle? No, but like there's Zazzle, there's Moo cards. There's all kind of cheap ways you can make cards now.
So guess who it is? Matthew came a calling.
And she's like, huh?
She's like, why? Please leave me alone after last night. And he's like, ha 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 ha. No. So he brought his curricle, which is like a 2-person cart thingy.
Yeah.
And he did this. And he invites her on a ride. Because, 1, it's public because people can see you. 2, it would only accommodate 2 people, so no lichens can join.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, if people saw them together, everybody would assume they've made up after she slapped his face last night.
Yep. Which it covers her in society so she can stay around for her sister.
Yes.
Because women can't get away with scandals the way men do, apparently.
No. I mean, men can't get away with some scandals, but women could, like, be outside with a person and people are like, ooh.
Apparently you can get away with it if your name is Dominic West, but that's here nor there.
The best thing I saw is they were like, he should play Prince Charles in the next season of The Crown. And I was like, that's some shade, but let's not give that man work. Because his poor wife.
I know, right? And this whole thing, and I'm just like, oof.
And
it relates back to the story because, like, she's got a fucking castle and comes from, like, the gentry, so...
Yes.
There's a reason I brought it up, guys. It wasn't just gossip. It seemed very on par with probably what the women in this time went through as well, with all the
Grin and bear
conversations. Mm-hmm.
So Kat pushes her out the door with him. I just love Kat's just like, go.
Yeah. She's like, look here, little thing, go.
Go.
She has no problem, making the people do what she wants them to do.
No. But this is where Rhee actually finds out, because she asks him how is he out in the sunlight, because, vampire. And he says, quote, 5 wonderful women gave me a gift long ago that has made this existence bearable, end quote. And she looks and she goes, that looks like Blair's ring. Dun, dun, dun. Yes.
Yep.
This is also where he finds out that she won't look him in the eye because she's been enchanted by a vampire before, which I assumed happened in a previous book.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And he makes a promise to her that he will never enchant her, which is very considerate.
Right? I'm like, bare minimum bar, but that one's like somewhere between bare minimum and like decent.
I think because he made sure he was like, he wanted to figure out why she was uncomfortable, and then he's trying to do something to make her not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which is very, very nice.
It's like bare minimum for him because once he finds out, because like Blair's book is a lot more into the vampire lore than this one is, because I think it's the first one of the vampire books. There's 3 of them, and so you learn more, and it's very interesting to find out how it runs. Because not every book is about the coven. There are some that are just about the wolves and their own matches and what's going on there too. So I think you'll like Prissy's book a lot. Because it was fun.
So as they're driving around, Ginny and Aunt Greer's barouche, another kind of carriage, comes up alongside Matthew's, and it's the Duchess of Heist. That's who the ice cube, that thing went between her boobs. And so they notice, like, she's like, oh, they're with her? Interesting. This Duchess, I love her. She's great.
I do too. She's
awesome. A riot. Everyone's afraid of her. She's who I wish to be when I'm older. Is just stirring chaos and having a good time.
She's like, so the Duchess is like a lot of times, like when you read some of the other books,
Mhm.
like the like Lady Jersey and stuff is kind of like got that like that dragon role, and but she really takes it on
Mhm.
here and makes it different. I
Yes.
think, because she's not afraid of saying truths maybe you may not want to hear.
She also has some of my favorite lines.
Uh-huh.
So when she sees Ree with Matthew, she tells her, like, they're all introduced, and she goes, quote, "And you, Miss St. Clair, I am glad to make your acquaintance. The chits these days are too free with their favors. Back in my day, women behaved with a bit more decorum. I don't know what the bounder said to you, but I am certain he deserved it. Has he behaved himself today?"
Yes.
Rihanna blinked back at the Duchess and managed a nod. "A perfect gentleman." The old woman smiled wryly. "Just as I suspected. Men are like dogs, Miss St. Clair. They need to know their boundaries. I recommend you on training yours so well." End quote. I'm just like, I'm so here for this.
Like
Especially
she gives no shits about any
no
of
fucks.
this.
Oh. And like, it's funny because he's a vampire and there's leash jokes made later on about the werewolves. It's,
Hmm. They do a really good job of.
oh my god. And they're not forced.
Yeah, they're organic to the conversation, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense when they put them in, and I love that. This is why I wanted everyone to read these books, because so many people don't know they exist, and I think that that's a pity because they're really interesting, and they were put out like each of the three series were all like came out in like 1, 2, 3 months in a row, whatever, consecutively. And so you can see how this would build up over time as they made all this world build, and then they disappeared. And I'm like, well, come back.
Please come back. So her aunt Greer seems to like that Ree is hanging out with Matthew because he has prestige. He has
Yes,
society clout and shit. Um,
and the Duchess likes her,
yes.
so that makes her much higher up in the hierarchy of, oh look, you can help me in my life.
Hmm. They move on, and I forget how it comes about, but Rihanna gets upset, and she starts a storm, and she's like, "I'm sorry for the storm," and he responds with, "I rather liked the last storm." I'm just like, oh my god, my cold dead heart. So nice. Because he understands, like, she can't help it all the times when she's super emotional, and her aunt always makes her upset.
Yep.
It's so sweet.
And I like what he says later too. He's like, "May I be quite frank with you, Miss Sinclair?" She shrugged. "Of course. I have been alive for more than 6.5 centuries. I've seen a lot in those years, and done a lot, and left very few stones unturned. After a time, it does become a bit of a boring lifestyle. So when I saw you here in the park, I was the one enchanted for once." He tweaked her nose with a crooked finger thoroughly. Certainly the man was just simply trying to salvage her feelings. That raindrop must have made him feel incredibly sorry for her. For him to say such ludicrous things. No one liked the storm. No one liked the things beyond their control. No one liked her. Aside from her coven, that was. It's kind of you to say. No, it's wrong of me to say so. I don't know what you mean. He was speaking in riddles, which was incredibly frustrating. Never mind, he said as he flicked his wrist and set his graze to moving. So he's finally catching on to the fact he's getting some feelings.
He acknowledges he caught some feels, yes.
Yeah. Not to the extent of them, but at least he's realized he's attracted to her. So we're doing good.
And then there's the awkward situation where he really wants to drink her blood, and so she stops the horses and like just starts walking away, and he thinks he scared her, but no. She asks to borrow some of his respectability.
I love that part.
Yes. And so
She's like, I can bargain well.
and because she's like, "I will give you my blood, like you can feed from me," but I don't think she realizes what comes with that.
No.
And um he kind of is like, "No, I couldn't do that to you. You're an innocent." Da 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 da. Well, then she's like, "Well, I guess I could ask one of Dash's brothers," and he immediately gets jealous, grabs her, pulls her closer, and he says, quote, "You will not ask one of those lecherous beasts to partner you. Not for a dance, not for a feigned courtship, not for a buggy ride over my dead body." End quote. It's kind of funny because he's dead.
Uh-huh.
So he agrees, and she's like, "Well, Good. Um, they do have to kind of go back because he is struggling immensely not to bite her there because the thirst is real.
Oh yeah, and don't forget she took control of his horses too, which was
Yes.
great.
She made them stop. So, and then he's like, he goes, can I have control of my horses again? She goes, yeah. Just, oh my god. It's just so charming.
Like it's great because you watch their relationship bloom, and she's young, like she's
20.
20, but like I'm thinking like she's young and like it's very a Buffy and Angel in some of this because of like the ages, but it's a different feel to it because you feel like they're growing, their attraction is growing together,
Yes.
not a, like not independently of each other, and then suddenly there's a relationship there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this feels much more like
Organic.
organic, and like you can feel like you can see like the different threads of like the coven, her sister, you know, McQuarrie, and you know
Mm-hmm.
the gentleman's club, and you know knowing some of the people that are now championing for her, and it's really nice to see that complex world kind of interweaving
Mm-hmm.
with it being a smart way of doing it,
Yeah.
like a well designed way of doing it, because you don't always get that in some book series.
No, no. And it's a nice, like, their relationship, it was initial attraction and then the building of it. And it wasn't like, oh, they're attracted, immediately they're together and it's easy. Or, like, and then something stupid breaks them apart. It's like, there are issues, but they're trying to work on them,
Yes.
which is nice.
There's a value of each other in their
Yes.
relationship.
And an understanding of each other. Because she
Yep.
understands she's a witch. He understands what coming with that. And she understands that he's a vampire and what he needs. So, after he drops her off, Matthew goes to, of course, find McQuarrie. What else is he?
Hmm.
Just make sure he's not causing chaos.
Not killing anybody this week.
Yes. He goes to the club. He can't, you know, he can't get his teeth out.
Yeah.
For anybody right now.
And there's some people that would really like him if he could.
Yes. He goes to the club and the girls are all like, there's a new girl, and he was like, no, I'm sorry. I thought it was interesting that McQuarrie brings him over a glass of sheep's blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, you're probably hungry, and like, all of that. So he has to drink sheep's blood, and he's like, fine. Because he can't get hit, like, he can't feed off of a human.
Yeah, because like they're literally the teeth will not like distend.
Yes.
So
Because he's
he's like this sheep's blood sucks.
Yeah. He and McQuarrie start to get into a fight because McQuarrie's like trying to defend Ree's honor and protect her.
Because he's known her since like they've been children.
Yes. And like this, he's like, I had no idea you had developed strong feelings for the Good Witch in such a short time. And this is where we get he talks about how he's not good enough for her.
Right.
Quote, Richard the Lionheart bestowed the earldom on Sir Matthew Hackett. He was given the title of Bloodswell because the blood gushed from his sword whenever he took it up. He was quite revered in his day. And I've gotten to know the man fairly well over the past few months. He is a knight in shining armor in every way. He was just the sort of man to capture your heart and never give it back. I don't want that for you. You deserve a better creature than him, like him or me. You deserve a man of flesh and his own blood. So, like, we hear, like, that's what he wants her to have, like, not a vampire. He wants her to have a normal, like,
a normal thing with a very like a guy who respects her and who loves her and cherishes her, which he wish he could do with Kate.
Yes. And Matthew has to go back to Dash's house because, he's concerned. Because, McQuarrie was going out to make a social call.
And he's like, he don't know nobody.
He's like, I don't trust him with her, so I'm gonna wait until she comes home to make sure she gets home okay. And it's a little stalkerish.
Oh, as a background, so he does know somebody in town though. He was best friends with Benjamin, the first wolf. Benjamin and Elstep. whatever. I can never say the name. Anyway, I'm gonna call her Ellie. That's what I call her in the book. So Ellie in the first book that I did, the Tall, Dark, and Wolfish, was Lucy Hudson. We discussed Benjamin, and Benjamin was Alex's best friend. So he was raised around like pretty high, well-to-do families. So he has friends, but he hasn't talked to any of his friends because he's a vampire now, and he's ashamed of it.
He's ashamed of it, and I think he's also ashamed that, like, Kat's with another man, and he's mending his broken heart. Matthew gets caught hiding in the bushes, literally.
Yes.
By Rathorn. He was like, there's a vampire in your bushes, man, because Dash is kicking out his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And Rathorn's like, there's a vampire in your bushes, man. So Dash is like, you never called today. What the hell? And this is where we have the defend her honor conversation. And Matthew was like, I didn't want to do this. I just wanted to make sure she was okay. Because she's out with McQuarrie. And Dash goes, say what? So they go in and, you know, he asked Kat, and Kat goes, yeah, I knew about it. I just love Kat. Kat's just like, yeah, and?
Right? Like,
the whole time. And he's just like, I love you, woman, but God, you're not making my job easy.
And she basically says, like, she's with Alec after all, and he'd never harm her, so why would she be concerned?
Yes. The other great part. So they're having, Dash and Matthew go up to his study. They're having this conversation, and about his intentions.
Yes.
And he was saying how he doesn't want to court her and all this stuff. But meanwhile, in his head, he's just like, oh, the things I would do. But guess who's behind him? Rihanna.
Yep.
And so she tries to run away. He hits her. She gets hit. Well, she hits him with a bolt of lightning.
Mm-hmm. A well-placed bolt of lightning.
Yes.
So you can guess where that probably landed.
Oh, he probably needed new pants.
Yeah.
I just love, he stopped momentarily, cursed loudly and
Profanely?
No, profically? Prolifically? I can't talk. So, he does catch her.
Oh, prolifically.
Prolific, yes. It's one of those words I haven't said out loud in a while.
Yeah. I had to find it in my book because I was following along, and I was like, wait, no, I know it's on there. Found it.
So he catches her, grabs her, holds her very close to him in a very intimate way, and asks, does it feel like I don't want you? It's like, do you feel this? And, you know, he admits that he can't offer her anything. He can't give her a family, any of those things. But he goes, I can pretend to court you, make your aunt happy, and then send you safely back to Edinburgh. And I'm just like, oh, his heart's broken inside. And so they part, and Matthew goes back to the study, and Dash is dying, because he knew, like, he was just, like, waiting for him to realize. He was just like, you know, when he was saying the stuff, he's just sitting there like, you're dumb, and I'm here for this.
Like, this seems appropriate.
Yeah. And he goes, you let me continue on like an idiot. You were playing the idiot part so well, I had no desire to stop you. No doubt you would have heard her footsteps, too, if your mind hadn't been clouded by thoughts of how to get beneath her skirts. And you're just like, yeah? Because that's like exactly what happened.
Like, they definitely have got these two figured out. All the friends have kind of like, yeah, we see what's going on. Y'all dumb, but we see what's going on.
We're gonna get some popcorn and watch y'all be dumb. Because that would be me.
Mm-hmm.
I did like, because he says she smells like gardenias, and gardenias are used to soothe the anxious, and I was like, damn, should I get some?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is it's the youngest witch, Sorsha.
Sorsha.
Yeah, Sorsha. she actually is the one that deals with all the she's like basically like poison ivy in many ways. And so she creates the blooms for everyone's smell, unique to their personalities. So like, she smells like gardenias. I can't remember what Blair smells like, and I think, Ellie smells like something else. So they each have their own smell,
I love
their
it.
own scent that helps them deal with their realities at the time.
Yeah.
So like gardenias helps, Ree, because Ree has got so much anxiety and fear and all these things because she doesn't control things that she wants to control.
Yeah. And I was just like, that is so nice and clever. But we do have the actual threat. And I love this because, I mean, who hasn't threatened their friends' boyfriends?
Right?
With pain or having their body disappear. It's fine. Quote, if you sink your teeth or anything else, I like that it's anything else, it's not specific, into the fair skin of Miss St. Clair, I'll gladly help those women plan where to hide your body after they kill you. He's it's like, I like that he's like, I'm not going to be the one killing you, but I'll help get rid of the body.
Right? Like, please understand. I also like in that same thing they said that, and they're fairly charming once you get past the lightning, fireballs, and creeping vines, and never having a single secret that you can call your own. But these women are like family to my wife. I feel the need to warn you.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's like, it's establishing that no matter what happens, they are their own unit, no matter what, and they're going to handle their own things in their own way. So if you fuck with Ree, you fuck with the other four too, and they're gonna make your life hard and difficult, and rightly so.
Yes.
And I love that.
Because it's like they can exist without, but there's a strong female network that they let others in, but there's still that core group, no matter what.
It's a strong sisterhood.
Yes. So then Matthew leaves and goes to his maker, Callista, and she gives him fresh blood, and it tastes rancid to him. So she goes over his symptoms. He's getting headaches. There's pain in his chest. It's slight and dull, and it won't go away. So the illness happens throughout this, and she's trying to be like, well, just drink her blood and get on with it. Like, do what you gotta do, man. Because she's way older than him.
Yeah.
I don't know how old she is.
I always got the feeling she was at least like, I mean, with her name Callista, I would guess at least like Roman times.
Yeah. So almost like 1,000 years old at least.
Roman Greek times. Yeah.
She was like, you know what? Marry her. Get some, like, you can adopt babies. It's cool. Do it on the DL. But he, quote, because it wasn't fair, he couldn't ask that from Rion. He had nothing to give her in return. He couldn't steal her future. But he couldn't say that to Callista. She wouldn't understand, and even if she did, she wouldn't agree. End quote. So it's just like, he just wanted her to be happy, and that's so sweet. Especially because he agrees. He's like, it's not the same as feeding off of the girls at the club because that's their choice.
And it's basically lust.
Yes.
It's not love, it's just lust.
Mm-hmm. We then go back to Ree. She goes, her powers have been acting haywire, probably because of all the like emotional disturbances, and she's not in a familiar place since she arrived in London. And after they had that hot makeout session, she's really out of sorts. So she decides to go to the park and just like practice her magic and let out all her stress.
Yeah, and I think the park is also a chance for her to be independent in a very coddling situation in her mind because she's never had someone looking over her like that.
Yeah, I think she's always had chance to be alone.
She's very introverted, I think.
Yeah, but guess what? Dash appears. I just love he just wanted to make sure that she's okay, so he followed her, and I was like, that's really sweet. So she does some practicing. He's pretty impressed, and then he asks, he goes, do you think you could shoot the buttons off his waistcoat with that lightning without causing permanent harm, of course? And I was just like,
That's such like a little brother thing to ask, right?
I know.
So like it's obvious he's not like, I mean, he is somewhat interested in her because like she's an available woman, but he's also clearly like looking at her almost like an older sister.
Yeah, definitely like a sister, and he just wanted her to be okay, and he was like, also, he's been shocked by the lightning, so he's like, I would like to see someone else suffer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, in that same scene, she also admits that, like, the more nervous she gets, the harder her powers are to control.
Yes.
And she openly tells that to Dash, which is a huge thing in that fog cloud.
Yeah.
Because it's a moment of trust. Because she already liked him, but now she trusts him.
Yes, very true.
And totally important.
Yeah. I think she realized when he, like, was sitting down and reading the riot act to Matthew.
Yes.
So the next day, Kat and Ree are going shopping because the Duchess invited them to her house for ball, I think.
Yeah.
Party. So they need more outfits. And Rathord is there to carry their things because why not? Like, he keeps teasing Kat, and Kat's like gonna send her home, and he goes, or this is just how good these lines are. Or what, you'll make me run back home, or simply put me on a leash? He pretended to weigh his options. The leash idea actually sounds like my idea of a good time.
I know. I love that.
And, like, Ree doesn't get it. And, like, Matthew's there, and Kat's there, and everybody else gets it, and Kat is, like, super flustered, and Ree's like, what is going on? So, Kat was like, you need ribbons, go to the shop and wait. And she's like, Boswell, will you wait with her? And he's like, yes. So she can take Rathorn home and probably verbally accost him. I'm assuming that's what's happening in the car. Probably beating him a little bit, too. But he might like that.
Well, especially because, like, he talks about how, like, he had no idea his sister-in-law and his brother, played that way in his words. So...
Yeah, he definitely says some things he should not be saying out in public.
Yeah, because I had highlighted that, too, because I was like, bold.
That's bold, sir.
And then this moment forth, I'll tuck my tail and heel when you ask.
There's so many good ones that, like, it's all tongue-in-cheek by the guy, like, them, because they know the people around them don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. So, Kat and Rathorn go off, and you have Matthew and Ree together. He gets a little, let's put it this way, his fangs descended. He's very hungry, and he's not looking great. So, he throws her basically in the carriage because he has to get out of there. And she basically feeds him, like, she cuts her thumb on his tooth, and he basically drinks from her finger, and it's mutual pleasure.
Right.
He fingers her in the carriage, because it's kind of interesting, because she doesn't know what's going on, really. He asks her, like, where are you feeling it, and stuff like that. And so, quote, he slid one finger into the silky warmth of her, just before her eyes flew open and she stared at him as he brought her to completion. Thunder may have crashed as she cried out for him, milking her finger as he continued to take her higher and higher, wringing every drop of pleasure from her. Finally, when she settled on his lap, he pulled her finger from his mouth and wrapped his arms around her, holding her close as she came back down from the storm-laden mountain of pleasure. She trembled in his arm. I was like, damn, girl! Being a hussy in the carriage.
And not only being a hussy, but, like, then going forth and asking about, like, will you marry me?
Yeah, she straight up goes, so, will you marry me? She's like, you haven't asked me. And so he asks her, and she's like, soon? And he's like, why's the rush? And she, quote, because we would make the most lovely storm together, and you're too honorable to take me without marrying me first, and I'm worried about you. It's, like, so sweet, because she knows he can't, she knows he's starving. So she's like, we'll get married, it'll be fine. I'm like, oh, sweet. So, and it apparently will take 3 weeks, so you have to have you gotta get permission and all this stuff. I didn't focus on this shit.
Well, and then you got the father's permission and stuff like that as well.
Yes. And then, the carriage rolled to the stop. Okay, so they're discussing the logistics. And one of my favorite things. So the carriage pulls up to the house, and she is just whipped out of the carriage. We don't know by who. Like, that's the end of the chapter. She's just like, whoosh, gone.
Oh, but first she's like unbuttoning the bodice of her dress so he can have some more food.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She wanted to make sure he had enough because she only cut her thumb. And he was like, no, we're good. I'm not doing that right now. So she's basically pulled from the coach, and he's like, what the hell is happening? And then he's jerked from the coach as well. Who is there? And I just love this. One furious lichen and one livid vampire. And I'm like, you can picture this. They're just like, they hate each other. Because who is it but Alec McQuarrie holding Ree, and, you know, Dash on the other side. It's like, she goes, y'all two hate each other and you're here ruining my good time.
Right? Like, hold on. Now, I don't need your permissions for any of this. I need my father's permission, but he's back in Scotland, so back the fuck off. He's reading his books that he never leaves, so I don't need your help. Thank you anyway.
They are like, they keep trying to get her to go inside, and she is just getting pissed. And she was like, why didn't we just go straight and, like, get married right then? You know, there were ways to do that if they left London. And they keep trying to get her to leave, and she says, and let the three of ye pummel each other in the name of my virtue? I think no. This has gone on quite long enough. Alec McQuarrie, you're a dear friend, and I appreciate your concern, but there is no need for it. As for you, Dash Thorpe, if ye harm one hair on my fiance's head, I'll make sure Kat has you sleeping in the doghouse for a fortnight or longer. End quote. I was just like, yes.
Yes, I know. I highlighted that too because it's like, she is so clearly her own person.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about her. That's why I wanted you to read this book, because I had a feeling you were going to like her a lot.
Yes. I love me some strong, independent woman with sass.
Yes. And she's got enough sass to create a small army.
She has enough sass for a forest of sassafras trees.
Because, like, when she's angry, like, because to continue on, it's like, did you say fiance, Ree? Alec's face contorted with unveiled rage. Thunder crashed in the sky, which had quickly turned to gray. Oh dear, she was getting even angrier than she first thought. How dare they behave as though they knew what she was best for her? She stomped her foot, and lightning struck nearby with a loud clap of thunder immediately following. At least it wasn't raining. She'd be hanged before she'd cry in front of these men.
Yeah. On top of it, we have Dash getting even more mad because he says, but you smell like you did more than ride in your carriage with the lass. And then she's just like, what? Y'all can smell that? That was my favorite. She goes, lichens could smell that? She'd die of embarrassment. She'd never be able to look henceforth in the eyes again. Who would have thought that had a scent, for heaven's sake? I'm just... Meanwhile, Kat's back in the house just like, my plan worked.
It's like, la 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 la.
Yeah, because when they finally have settled things out, there is no fighting, just love. And she goes up to, Ree goes up to see Kat in her study, and Kat just goes, have you set a date yet? And I'm just like, I'm here for you, girl. Oh God. And she basically, Ree's like, what, you knew all of this would happen? And she's like, yep, but are you happy? And let me tell you, I bet she's very happy.
Yes, because Matthew seems to be very skilled in his amorous intentions.
So she knows she's going to have to try to do this quick just to make sure Matthew is healthy, because she gets that something's wrong. She's like, right. There is something not right with this man right now. He is ill. And it comes up repeatedly.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's noticeable. And, like, and of course, you know, like, Alec is giving Matthew, like, the dressing down for ages because, like, yo, this is like my little sister. Mm-hmm. The fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, she's important to Kate, but she's also important to me because I grew up with these girls. Like, these are my friends. Like, I feel like I should be in charge of this because her dad is an idiot who doesn't pay any attention to his daughters. Yeah. Like, nothing ever works in their direction because of that. So I need to step in, which means you need to step off because I want to make sure you're not taking, like, advantage of my friend and also of someone that needs my protection because no one else is protecting her. And Matthew's like, but that's what I would be doing.
Yeah, and he's right. I love like to ask for permission. If you're asking what to put in the letter, a simple, I'd like your permission to marry Anna. Please have the banns read this upcoming Sunday would suffice. And it's just like, I don't think Matthew realized how neglectful her father was.
Yeah, like, he had an idea, but, like, until Alec really broke this down.
Yeah, he was like, you should have your man like keep on him, and like, you have to do everything. Her dad might give his permission, but he's not going to do any of the necessary shit.
Right.
So you could send him a letter and he'll be like, "Oh, cool," and then never respond.
Right.
So
he'll read it like, "Oh, that's great for my daughter," as he gets stuck doing whatever scholarly world he was in.
Yeah.
Because his dad shut down when his wife died.
Mm-hmm.
And this is mentioned in one of the books. I can't remember which one of the three, but when a coven, like when someone in the coven dies, they, like the other members of the coven all start to die kind of close together as well. And then the new coven is formed.
Interesting.
So because like all the moms died like within, I would guess like maybe like a year or so from each other. And so, and the new coven cannot be formed until the old one has passed on. Yeah. So all these girls lost their mom at different ages because they were, born at different times, but it was around the same time period. So that's another thing that makes their bond so much stronger, is because they've lost their mother so young. So I think that's important to put too, because she lost her mother, I think within the past like decade, and then her father like shut down and just completely like disappeared from her life basically.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't handle the pain, and she's had to raise Jenny since then. And she's not that much older than Jenny. That's the thing. And then you've also got like the coven who have also helped to raise Jenny, because like she couldn't raise her on her own.
Yeah.
Like there had to be that level. And so Jenny knew about all the stuff that was going on with her mom, and then, her not being, a witch or whatever, but and she was okay with it because these were still like her sisters as well, because, she never had a mom, so they kind of all helped in raising
each other.
The younger, yeah, because like Sorsha,
yeah,
she's the youngest, and I think Ellie is the oldest. So there's quite like a 6-year age range between the oldest and the youngest of them, or thereabouts. And I think that Rhea is like kind of in the middle. And so there's been a lot of like, so there's been like a lot of stuff that's happened. And you find out more, again, like in the book before this, you find out more in Blair's book about what's been going on as well.
Yeah, so we then go to the party. This is what I love about Regency ones. There's always a party. They get to drink out of those coupe glasses, be fancy.
Yep.
I don't have my coupe glasses here, otherwise I would drink out of my coupe glasses more.
Ooh, talk about fancy. I drank my wine out of a plastic like kid's cup last night.
I've drank things out of mugs. The only reason I have coupe glasses is because they're from a dead relative, so.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking of coupe glasses, those are the ones that in the 20s that champagne was drank out of, or aka were supposedly designed by the perfect shape of Marie Antoinette's breast. That's legitimately, it's a weird thing. Why do I know these facts? I don't know. So again, at the ball, Rhee is not pleased with her bodice coverage. I just love every time she's just like, why? And she's there basically to talk to her aunt, but her aunt, because Matthew, he's like, I will be there, I just can't show up with you. Things are happening. AKA he's going to Scotland. But, right. So he...
And it's a bit of a long run when you're like at half of where you need to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So she comes on the arm of Rathorn. She's like, how am I supposed to borrow some of his respectability if he's not here? What is he good for? But the nice thing, we do find out, like, Kat's like, if you get too overwhelmed, let me know. I'll probably make my excuses with a headache, which she gets headaches in crowds because she gets tormented by the futures of everybody, which disappear when Dash is touching her, and they're like, but he can't always be touching her because people get suspicious.
Mm-hmm. And not even just that, it's not always possible in a crush either.
No.
You're going to always get separated from them at some point because there's 15 people around you moving at a constant motion, so...
Yeah. When she does see her aunt, like, purposely, like, leads her sister away, and she wanted to spark her, but before she could send the lightning, I love this. Dash hand closed around her finger. Don't even think about it. And he pretty much tells her, like, he's like, don't keep it in. Just don't try not to have her bother you. Like, it'll be okay. And I'm just like, oh, you really do care. Oh. And then Ree does what everybody wants to do at a party. Hide behind a plant and eavesdrop on her aunt.
Yup.
She's standing there for a while, too.
Oh, yeah. It's like she's hearing all the things she does not want to hear.
Well, let's go over the things Greer says. Her father has plump pockets. You can't tell it by Rian. She is not one for the finer things in life. She's not made to marry. Like, Ginny has potential. Like, look at how far she's come. I've just started working on her. Also, her aunt basically points out, like, you know, if my husband died, I'd marry again for money. And she goes, I thought you did. Oh, yeah, this is where she says, it was too bad for her that her husband kept a tight rein on the purse strings. She assumes her aunt's probably using Ginny to get money. And she is not pleased. And here you kind of see, like, her plans for, Greer's plans for Ginny. And how, like, her aunt thinks because Matthew's not there that he has already tossed her off for another lady. But this is where, so the Duchess is there. And she was like, but the older girl, that one is a diamond of the first water. She'll make a brilliant match this year. I'd wager on it. And I'm just like, and, like, Ree's behind the plant being like, oh, this woman I don't really know is standing up for me. Because she got good chutzpah, and the Duchess was very impressed with that chutzpah.
And to be fair, she also really, really does not like Aunt Greer.
No, because I think she's seen ladies like this, and she's like, you full of bullshit.
Right? Like, you ain't great.
The Duchess doesn't suffer a fool.
Exactly. Like, she's like, I'm way higher in society, and I can make or break you. Would you like me to break you?
So she continues, I do like that girl. She has quite the spine. Bloodswell is in possession of one of the finest estates in Derbyshire. His fortune is unparalleled. Rian Sinclair will fit quite nicely into his life. And I was just like, ooh, girl got support.
Mm-hmm. From high up.
Yes, everybody's afraid of this woman, and I love her. So Radbourne finds her behind the plant and gets her out. And basically, he was like, if the Duchess would just shove Aunt Greer in a cupboard and keep her there for the rest of the night, this soiree would be salvageable. And Radbourne teases, there are two young Lycan gentlemen who have been known to accomplish such feats. And I was just like, and he goes, I've heard they work quite cheaply. I was just like,
I love that about them.
They're just like, they've taken her in as a family, and they're like, do you want us to put her in a cupboard? And mind you,
because we're totally down with that.
Yeah, they're totally down with it. They were not invited. The two younger brothers were not invited. They're just there.
And and even Hadley wasn't invited either, or Archer was there. Like he wasn't invited either. Like he just came because Rhea brought him. Like that was his invitation.
I just love that invitation method. I just brought this person. That's why there's so many goddamn people at this party.
Yes.
The best part is the Duchess shows up and it goes, we're gonna have a conversation.
Oh wait, no. Before that, they talk about Mr. Finchley, the one that.
Oh yes.
They talk about her. The one that Greer is trying to set Ginny up with.
Selling.
And
yes.
Finchley is gross.
He is abusive. He cheats on his partners constantly.
He's not the worst of the worst, but he's down there on that limb. That limb. He's just slightly less off the edge of the plank.
Yes. So, because Ree forces Radley to tell her, because her aunt was trying to put Ginny out on the balcony with him and have a scandal, so they have to get married.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you do shit.
And he's been known to physically hurt them and misuse them.
Yeah, physically and probably emotionally abuse them. Which
makes me think of things like sexual assault,
mm-hmm.
Obviously physical restraint, stuff like that. But also, I would not be surprised if, in the bedroom, he, hurt them in other ways, in the leash play that, Kate and Dash do. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't cause someone to be hurt.
I'm sure it's like BDSM, but without the consent.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And so I like the fact that Radborn is like, no, this is not good. We can't let this happen.
Yeah.
Let's get some stuff started. It's the best way we know how.
Yes.
Like, you're my family now because you're part of Kate's family.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're going to protect your sister because family is family no matter how you put it together.
Exactly.
And I love that.
It's such a nice message. Because it's like family, it's not the ones you're born with. It's like it could be this completely outside family.
And you like when you learn about like Dash's mom and the other three's mom, you realize that she's, or dad, I can't remember. But anyway, like you learn, no, it's mom. You learn that they're not bad. They're not bad people, but they're not a family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't go together that well.
Gotcha. So after that conversation, the Duchess comes up and basically is like, Rhee, we need a conversation. My lord, you're not needed. Don't make me regret my generosity for you and your unruly brood staying. Like, she acknowledges, y'all ain't invited. I'll tolerate it. Let me take this girl.
Exactly. Like, this is mine. Get your own.
So we then go to Scotland, but, you know, Matthew is not doing well at all.
Nope.
He isn't looking great, anything. So Alec is like, I'll get someone for you, like, we'll feed you. And he goes, I promised Rhee I wouldn't take anyone else, which is damn sweet. Who is it? Their friends show up.
Yeah, Benjamin Westfield. So that's Ellie's husband.
Yes.
So that's the healer in the series. She's the healing witch.
Yeah, so Ellie and Benjamin show up.
Unexpectedly.
Mainly because Benjamin is concerned for Alec McQuarrie. And so he bribed the butler that as soon as he came home, he was to send word. I'm like, clever man. So he's like, okay, Lycan, healing witch. Gotcha. And he goes, well, this'll be news to Alec that his best friend is a wolf.
And then North since they were 12 years old, so because they met at Harrow, Harrow, whatever.
Harrow,
so that means that and they're like in their, like, I think they were like 28, something like that in the book, the last book. So they know each other for like over half their life.
Yeah, they said he's like over a decade of friendship.
Yeah, 14 years. That's what it mentions. 14 years.
So Ellie helps temporarily heal Matthew, and you know, while Benjamin goes out and scrounges up Mr. St. Clair.
Yep.
I just love these like him and Alec, which Alex then has to be like, "What the fuck? You're a wolf too?" And Alex,
and you're a witch? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he was as shocked by the witch shit.
Yeah.
But I think the wolf thing, he was just like, why didn't you tell me? But, so, they go off to get the dad. Ellie temporarily heals him. She goes, it's not a permanent solution. And gets the permission. The saddest, he's like, I want to marry your daughter. Okay. Have the banns read. Okay. Like, that's like the whole extent of the conversation. Matthew's just like, what?
Like, don't you want to ask me anything about me? Like, do I have money? Do I beat my women?
You don't know
Am
me.
I already married?
There's so many questions to ask that he doesn't. So Benjamin thoughtfully goes, we're going to take him to the vicar right now because otherwise this shit ain't happening.
Yep.
Just like, I appreciate you, sir, for acknowledging what would happen. Meanwhile, Sorsha shows up, tackles Alec, and, you know, pretty much, and Alec's like, you can't just, like, knock over strange men. She goes, I'm giving you a hug, which makes me laugh. And immediately turns to Matthew when she finds out, and she goes, do you love her? Please tell me you do. She needs to be loved. She always has. You have to love her. It's the only way, she sighed deeply. I wish I could tell you, but then it might never happen. And so we're just like, it plants this like little nugget in your brain. You're like, wait, what? Is something happening? So we go back to the party, to the best conversation
in the book.
Really, any of the conversations with the Duchess are just the best because she gives no fucks.
Nope.
She gives Ree the best advice. Do not give Greer Cooper another thought, my dear. She will not be allowed to stomp on your success. I will not have it. I have formally taken you under my wing as of this moment. You should consider me to be your mentor, your taskmaster, your confidant, if you so choose. And I was just like, yes, 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 yes.
And she admits that, like, she's got, like, she's got Kate, and that's good, but she needs someone that's got real power in this, and she's built up that power base to really kind of, like, push everything the way it needs to be done.
She has the social capital to get shit done, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy all of the hints about Matthew's package in this conversation. Because at one point, the Duchess goes, although I doubt any of his pieces were little. Just like, ma'am. And people say women don't talk like that. We totally do.
And she's like, and I did want to know more of him. All of him, like you said, every little piece. And says, when she goes down to that, like, she also talks about, like, that's when you learn a little bit more about how deeply ingrained the night thing is in Matthew, because she wanted to see that. He could have done that, but he chose not to because he didn't want to take her choice and her innocence away. He wanted the consent, and he didn't want to be connected with her in that way, so he did not want to take that capital that she had away.
Yes. Also, I should mention, both ladies are drinking brandy, so the Duchess is getting her drunk AF.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when she addresses that bloody gentleman thing to do, indeed, I say, it's time to take the bull by the horns, my dear. Or by the horn, at least. If you want to catch a man, choose an appropriate part of his body to grab hold to.
And then she just flat out says, seduce him. Like, all the other ones are like, don't seduce. You see that, like, all the time in, like, the Regency books are like, don't seduce. And, like, the Duchess is like, no, seduce.
Get shit done.
Right. Like, put everything on the table. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your life. Do what you need to do.
Yeah. I love that woman, though. She great. I know I keep saying it, but I do.
Because she's the kind of mother figure that I think Ree needs.
She's
she
the
needs
kind of
someone that
mother figure I fucking need.
Well, yes. But within this story,
I think we all could use this mother figure. Seduce the
I think
bull.
she'd be a great. I think for me, she'd be a good aunt.
Oh, she'd be.
I had too many. I had too many mothers in my life. I had a godmother, a mother, and a stepmother.
It's a lot of mothers.
Yeah, a fourth one would. I actually had two godmothers. So that'd make a fifth mother.
It's a lot. So
I think I'm good with being an auntie.
So during this time, Matthew arrives when they're finished their conversation. Ree is smashed.
Oh yeah.
Like, in the cups, which is my favorite way to say drunk. In these, so-and-so's in the cups. They drunk.
They're real drunk.
But Radbourne, so the Duchess returns her to Radbourne, which I love that's just how, you just drop someone off and, take care of them. Goodbye! Like she's a fairy godmother or something.
Yep.
And Bourne's concerned, he's like, let's go get you some air. You need some fresh air. You smell like brandy. And, of course, Matthew is hella jealous. But luckily, Alex stops, him when they're dancing from, interrupting. And then when they go out into the garden, he sees them embracing, and he is not pleased.
Oh, no. He's, having all these jealous feelings in his breastbone, and it's not very good.
So there is an encounter in the garden after she was like, Radthorn, you can leave. I'm safe with him. He's my fiancé. And she tells Matthew, I do not want a gentleman. She breathed against his lips as she cupped the back of his head and drew it down to her. Rian tilted her head to expose her neck. I want ye, all of ye, right now. What has come over you? He asked. Between frantic kisses, he pressed her throat. You haven't come over me, no yet. She breathed. But I was like, girl, you don't know what you're talking about.
She's like, I don't know what these words mean, but I know they have value.
Well, I think what
She's
has come
been
over
paying
you,
attention to what,
not him. You're not on top of me. That. But double entendre. I was chuckling. They have an encounter in against the garden wall.
Yep.
He feeds. So at the end, he appraised her from head to toe. Once they had righted her clothing, You look as though you have been tucked on a garden wall, lass, he lamented. Rian sniffled a grin. Do I look like I enjoyed it? Did you? His gaze was penetrating. That's for me to ken, and for you to find out, my lord, she sang as she spun away from him. And I was just like, best exit from an encounter ever.
Yes.
Did you enjoy it? For me to know, you to find out later, bitch.
And she's so confident about it.
Yes.
Like, Rhea is one of the most confident people I've seen in a book, right? Like,
yes,
she's vulnerable as hell on things like her witchy stuff, but she is like not taking shit for anything.
No. Immediately as she leaves, he is surrounded by werewolves.
Oh yes.
They are not pleased at all. Specifically Dash, because he was like, I told you not to do this. And how was he to refuse her? She was all like, do it, sir. Matthew is so over it. And he goes, I get you're concerned. I've got the blessing. The banns will be read on Sunday. She'll be my wife by the next full moon. We good. But he also admits that he's glad that she has people to care for her because, you know, her father doesn't, her aunt doesn't. And he goes, I can't even be mad at them because they're just looking out for her.
Yep.
Then one of the twins has a horrible surprise when his maker Callista grabbed him by the neck and then she scratched his face from ear across his cheek to his mouth. So gives him half of a Glasgow smile. And
she does it because they were saying that they were stronger and she's like,
sup, bitch?
You're like 20 years old. I'm like 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be playing with my basically my kid.
Yeah. She's a proud mama.
You're talking bad about my baby. F that.
Interestingly, I thought, they're like, werewolves, yes, they heal, but he's not going to heal from this, so he's always going to have that mark because it was made by a werewolf.
I think it's very interesting. Like, just the way these guys are solidly in their way.
Mm-hmm. So then the guys leave. Callista and Matthew have a conversation because he's not looking, like, she's like, you're looking better, but, like, I'm not about this. And she gives him a kiss on the cheek, like, they have an agreement. And he hears someone running towards the house. So he has to figure out who it is. He can't figure out who it is. Immediately, like, after the wolves were done with Matthew, that whole party left and went home.
Mm-hmm.
And she hadn't heard anything of it. And, like, nobody's answering what happened. So Rhea's pissed. She is suffering from insomnia when there's a rock thrown at her window. Well, a bunch of rocks thrown at her window. And who is it but Ginny? So she comes down, hugs her sister that she, like, hasn't been able to because her aunt, like, keeps her at a distance. And there, Ginny tells her that, one, her sister has been basically assaulted by Mr. Finchley. He tried to kiss her, wouldn't let go of her, and she kept trying to push away. And Lord Stevens pushed him back and, like, basically defended her. And then she has somewhat of an encounter because they go into the garden so she can fix her stuff because Finchley had ripped her bodice and her hem, so her dress is a bit of disarray. In there, she sees Matthew with some woman kissing him. That is how it's displayed. And, oh, the chaos.
You have to make sure that Big Sister is taken fully care of.
She's like, my sister would do this for me. I'm going to do this for my sister.
Mm-hmm.
So Matthew actually calls upon Dash the next morning to make sure everything's sorted out between Hadley, like the twin, and like he's like trying to smooth everything over to make sure there's no fight. And there we find out that Dash didn't even know he had brothers until a few months ago. Kat sought them out. Yep. And we have a recap of what happened up in Scotland, and all of a sudden the ladies are coming down the stairs because Matthew said when he last saw Rhea that he would call on her in the morning, and it was Brianna, her sister, and Kat. They all stop on the stairs and give him dirty looks, and Dash is behind him going, God be with you. You're just like, he's like, I know they're upset. I don't know why they're upset. No one's told me anything, but good luck, sir.
Like, good luck dealing with these people when they're pissed off.
Yeah. I mean, Dash does not want any more lightning to his behind.
He's like, I like you, but I don't like you that much.
Yeah. They all leave. Matthew still has no idea what the fuck went wrong. He's like, what is happening? I don't understand. So, as soon as they leave, this is the best. The store to Enford's study opened slowly, and the lichen pushed his head out, glancing left and right down the hallway. Are they gone? He whispered dramatically. Matthew nodded. Thank God. Enford sighed, and his shoulders drooped in relief. I don't know what you did, but you have until they get home to undo it, because if I have to spend another morning with my wife shooting mental daggers at me simply because I have bollocks, I'll have your head.
Yes, I loved that. That was like such a clear indication of how strong not just the coven is, but just the women in the series are in general. Mm-hmm. You don't want to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Just if you do, just go running.
Yeah. So they go to the Duchess's house because Rhee needs advice. And I just love they're all like, she's mad. She's like, she said I could stop by. This is the night after she had a party. Who knows when bitch went to sleep, because everyone thinks, oh, like they didn't party all night. No. Like, it was well known at Versailles, you would party till dawn, sleep till 2, get up and do the shit again.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think Marie Antoinette lost so much money gambling?
Or, Georgina?
Oh, Georgiana, the Duchess of Devonshire?
Yeah.
Georgiana, yeah.
I mean, she wasn't losing it at, 2 in the afternoon.
No. 2 in the afternoon's when peasants gamble. I want to gamble at 4 a.m.
So, when I'm so drunk I can't know what my name is.
Yeah. But the Duchess surprises everyone and lets them up to the sitting room. They said she's having chocolate, so she's having hot chocolate to probably soothe the hangover. I've not tried that. Who knows? And when
well, to be fair, it's a different kind of hot chocolate, I'm sure too, because that was a different kind of chocolate.
It was literally melted chocolate, maybe with a little bit of milk. It's Spanish style hot chocolate, which is the shit.
Yep.
Oh,
but not the kind you get at the grocery store.
No.
Just to clarify this.
No,
in case people were thinking we meant the grocery store kind.
No, it's it's like churros and chocolate. And you should I've had some where the chocolate is so thick you can rest your spoon on top of it. But it's still liquid.
Yep.
Oh, God, I want some now. As my stomach keeps grumbling during this, so I'm sorry if you hear that.
It's okay. In between this, I've been eating a slice of pizza because I'm it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm getting hungry.
Oh, yeah, it's 4 here. We started this at, 11:30?
Yeah, something like that.
It's fine. It's fine, guys.
Eventually we'll get done and you guys can leave, too.
Your poor husband has to edit all of this.
No, I feel sorry for my husband because he's got to go to bed in a little while because he's got to go to work.
I think we're getting there. We're almost done.
Yes. We're 60 pages left, I think, or something like that. Close to that.
The Duchess is thrilled by the update on her situation of that she's engaged, because she goes, that man will take a tumble and I will be there to witness it all. And I was just like, yes, queen.
The Duchess. I want to keep her forever.
Right? So Ginny explains again what happened. And she was like, okay, well, describe this woman. The Duchess, she goes, I knew a man like that before I married Hythe. Callisto Berg excluded sensuality in everything she did. I've never seen such confidence in a woman. Half the men of the town were falling at her feet. So basically, she then, they're trying to figure out, and she's like, she's gonna help Ginny. Ginny's like, I can't go home, because she was gonna send Kat and Ginny away so they could plot. So she's like, okay, fine, Ginny, go into one of my parlors and I'll take you back. And she's like, by the time I'm done with your aunt, you'll have not only her forgiveness, but your favor. And I was like, that is a good woman. She understands that aunt is up to no good. So back at Matthew's house, he's like, oh God, my head hurts. I can't deal with this. And, he tries to, he's like, I need to eat, but I keep thinking of Rhee and all the things. But we go back to Rhiannon. And this is where we find out the Duchess's plan. Do you want to tell them the plan?
No, you tell them the plan.
The plan is follow him and see what shit he's up to. I love it.
Me too, because it's a battle plan.
She's like, You want your man, you gotta figure out what shit he's up to and make sure it's not gonna be conflicting with your shit. It's basically, are you okay with the stuff he does? This plan immediately gets foiled when Kat goes, that's a stupid ass plan. He's a vampire. He goes to a club to feed. Like, don't do that. It's a dumb plan. And the Duchess was like, you should have Rathorn come with you. So that way you're accompanied and all that stuff. And guess what? They happen to run into him on the way. And so Kat goes in. She's like, I'm going to tell Dash. And Rathorn's like, I'm going to hop in this carriage. Let's go. So when he finds out the plan, he's basically like, I don't want to deal with Dash yelling at me and being angry at me all the time. So what's the plan? And he goes, why don't we just go ask him?
Such smart ideas.
Right?
Like, why not just ask the person in question?
Yeah. She got upset, so naturally they're soaking wet. Seems to always happen. And the butler won't let her in. Because, like, when it started raining, it calmed her down. She was like, okay. And she told Rathorn, she's like, I can deal with this. Like, it's fine. I need to do this on the own. And so once the butler won't let her in, she's like, I'll just fucking sneak in.
And sneak in she does.
I love the solutions to these problems.
She's like, what is the fastest, most,
convenient,
intelligent idea? Yeah.
Because he could have been home and just not accepting visitors. Like, so she sneaks in, motions to Archer that he should leave. She goes, I doubt he'll leave, but we'll go with it. But the fact is, she is so cold because it's been raining, because she made it rain. And so she proceeds to strip and, like, lay out her clothes to dry off. And she goes, Matthew's not here. He might not be here for a while, so it's fine. So she basically has to strip because her chemise, which is, like, her under clothes, her underwear basically, is soaking wet. It's transparent. Because remember, they're white.
Yep.
And then she climbs into bed and basically falls asleep. Matthew returns home. His whole household is, like, freaking out. And he can't be used to that because he's, like, pretty simple dude. And he's like, have I been robbed? Have, like, the maid's been caught with one of the footmen? Like, what's happening? He finds out that his butler goes, there's a girl sleeping in your bed. I went up to check on her at his insistence, which Rathorn's sleeping on his couch. And he's like, what? How long has he been here? And he goes, what? Like, there's, like, so much confusion. And then Rathorn, like, wakes up and he goes, Rion's in your bed. And kind of slowly wakes up and he goes, she was angry with you. And he's like, her sister saw you kissing a woman in the garden. Looking kind of happy about it because he kind of was like, and now she'll be mine. Or at least not,
Not Matthew's.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, that storm totally makes sense now. That had hit Mayfair, but not the rest of the city. And Rathorn is like, he looks at Matthew and he goes, you will do right by her. Like, don't fuck this up.
He's like, you may have Callista, but I don't care.
I don't care. I will protect her with my tail wagging.
And a smile on my face.
Yep. So Rathorn leaves, and the butler goes, the gentleman said he would chew me to bits and bury me outside if I called the watch. And, like, I'm just like, yeah, he would?
Yep. He would bury those bones so deep nobody would find it either.
Nope. He probably knows where to bury them, too. He comes up to his room, and he notices, like...
Well, he's got 2 extra set of hands, too.
Yeah. And people that would help him bury the body gladly in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
So Matthew makes it up to his room. He, like, touches her clothes, and he realizes how freezing she must have been. Then he notices her chemise, and he goes, oh. And he sees, like, she's naked in my bed. Oh, my God. And then he just, like, his descriptions of her in this are just so good that I can't help but, like, quoting them. She was everything he ever wanted. She was wind, rain, hail, and storms. She was also love, devotion, kindness, and heart. His own chest hurt a little when he thought of the heart he used to have. If he had one, he'd give it all to her. All of a sudden, she turns over, and he was like, if I could love someone, I would love her. And all of a sudden, he gets, like, this pain in his chest. He's he's like, I shouldn't be experiencing pain. This is weird. What is happening? He's dropped to the floor. He's actually reaching for her as he falls. And he exhales. And he's like, what the fuck is this? Because he doesn't breathe.
Yep. And like it's something he's never heard of before, a vampire breathing. So it's very not only disconcerting, but like he can't ask anybody. There's no one to ask.
Yeah.
So like, and he can't show it to Ree because like he doesn't want to worry her either. Because he's met her father.
Yes. Oh god, yes. He's like, well, if I'm gonna die, I have to tell her. So he goes, I love you, Rian. And like he's struggling, and then he hears his own heartbeat, which has to be freaky as fuck.
Oh yeah.
And she looks over and she goes, I love you too. Why are you on the floor? I just love, she's just like, I love you too. What is happening? Could you imagine just waking up to that shit?
Being like, wait a minute. My fiance, who doesn't breathe, is breathing.
On the floor.
On the floor. And I'm naked. I know how I got this way. I don't know how he got that way.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm still really mad at him at the same time.
Exactly. So he asks if she put a spell on him. She's like, didn't. And he's like, okay, well, let's see what's going on. So he kisses her, and she doesn't see any fangs. And then she goes, typically when you're like that, your teeth descend, but they have because basically it's a raging erection. And she goes, you think you might need more motivation? I think we all know what the motivation is, guys.
Yep.
And like, so they, so like basically she exposes her breast. She's like, teeth yet? It just keeps happening. And then she's like, do we still want to focus on this right now? Oh my god, I forgot. So he's slowly stripping. Take you where? You want me to take you back to Ensford? He unbuttoned the fall of his trousers and pushed them down, then settled his hips firmly between her thighs. You only have to ask. God. And then she's thrilled because she corrupted him.
Yep.
Oh, my other favorite. So, I guess vampires have black eyes in this.
Yes.
And so his eyes change, and he goes, I'm inside you, and you want to discuss my eyes? And I was just like, it's a kill. Like, it's the sweetest sex scene, but it's also so funny.
And, like, again, that's why I like this book, because the sex scenes are fun.
Yes.
Like, they're entertaining, and they're fun, and they're enjoyable, and you go, oh my god, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
And then Matthew's dealing with the sensation he hasn't dealt with in a while. He's hungry as fuck for food, not blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of slips out that James had transformed. So Blair's, I don't know.
Yes.
He's no longer a vampire. And he's like, what? For over 200 years, he'd known Kettering. He'd known him since he was a child, in fact, at a neighboring estate. He saved him from an untimely death. How is it possible that James had changed and not told him? He glanced down at the signet ring, identical to James. He could still sense James's presence and Alex. So you're just like, oh. And that's when we discover love made their hearts beat again.
Yep. And wait, and like that story, by the way, is amazing.
Oh, I'm gonna read it. Let's not doubt
definitely
this.
like, oh yeah, no, I mean like it's amazing. Like even to the people listening, it's amazing. Like it's got a lot of action, but it's also got a lot of the coven politics in it. So it all kind of meshes into this great like adventure, and you actually go on an adventure.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
They clear after their pillow talk is clearing up their argument from before of why she was mad. And that's where, you know, he tells about like how she turned him and all of that, and
how she was like basically his not even best friend, because they weren't always together, but like she was his like his connection to his world, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had other connections, but that was his main connection because that's the one that started it all.
Yeah. He also gives Rhee some good information about how Kat had been marked, like how he first met Kat, and how she had been marked before they were married. Because it's just like, and he could almost see the information working through her head. I'm just like, you can't judge her, girl. They end up returning home, and they get there, and he's like, all the lights are on. Everybody's awake, and so Kat enters through the door, like she opens the door, and she is pissed. There's some sharks and debts fighting over honor and shit. But guess who's there but Aunt Greer?
She who must not be named.
Yeah. And basically being like, Ginny's run off, this is all your fault. And Rhee's like, what? This is the first I've been hearing of it. And immediately Matt, like, he's like, how much were you going to sell your niece for? Like, what was the rate? Because obviously no women of good society were going to marry that man. And she's like, Aunt Greer's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, how much had he promised you in exchange for your niece? And he's like, not pleased. He's like, okay, fine. Like, it was like 5,000 pounds. He's like, I'll double it, but you can only get money if certain conditions are met. And listen to these conditions, guys. Quote, if my future wife, the Countess, so she's the Countess of Bloodswell, ever tells me that anything you have said or done has made her unhappy, I will stop all payments. In fact, I would like for her to tell me you've performed random acts of kindness in her company as well. He leaned forward as though Aunt Greer was addled. You will be nice to your nieces, both of them, from this day forward. If you meet my conditions, the trust will be paid an annuity to you. Fail and you get nothing. End quote. I'm just like,
He's like, you're not fucking around with my wife, with my sister-in-law, with my family. Fuck off.
Yeah. So Greer leaves, thank God. And then they all go into the parlor, and Kat's like, something's different about Matthew. I love her just the way she's like.
The way she kind of like stirs a little bit
Oh,
and then
yeah.
walks away.
She's stirring shit all the time. I love her. And then he's like, Dash is like, wait, there's 4 heartbeats in this room. How is this possible? So, everybody's like, what? So now they're all like, yay, he's human once more.
And he says, like, I'm quite looking forward to being a normal man.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm pointing out because he felt like he enjoyed his vampire life, but I think he's going to enjoy being a human with the ability to love and to grow and to have this great future and not worry about having his wife die long before he does.
Yeah, that's gotta be like the hardest thing. So he has to go tell Alec, which was like really difficult because Alec's like, wait a minute, what is this? This is suspicious. He tells him what happens. He goes, love, pure love made my heart beat again, so there's hope if you want that. Back at Dash's house.
Thorpe House.
Thorpe House. The Duchess shows up because she's awesome. She's like, I know you're engaged. I heard everything's going well. Let's plan a wedding. Also, she's the one who admitted that she got her sister to elope. She was like, yeah, I encouraged Ginny. Young Lord Stanley was there, and I was like, off, improve your life. You are happy. Be happy.
You were not married to this person that your aunt wanted you to be married to.
Because it's one of those secrets where everybody knows how awful he is.
And as one of like the grand dames of the seasons, she would know better than most people would.
Yeah. So Rhee threatens the men. She goes, behave. If you behave, you might not. She goes, you might be actually invited to the next Duchess soiree. You don't have to creep in. I was just like.
Like, you served your purpose well. You can come to my parties now.
Yes. You didn't wreck shit. The Duchess has already started to plan the wedding, too. I don't know. Yeah. It's been maybe 12 hours. This woman works fast.
Because, like, she is, like, that woman that's going to get things done, and ain't nobody going to tell her no, so she's going to get exactly what she wants.
And she has the social capital that people will hup to and do it.
Mm-hmm. And she likes Rhee. Like, she genuinely likes Rhee.
Yeah.
Like, she thinks she's smart, and she's capable, and she's kind, and she's got a lot of...
to add.
Yeah, but she's also got, like, a lot of in her. Like, she's a complete person, and that's what she seems to value. That's what the Duchess values, is a complete person over like empty bobble-headed, women and girls who are only looking to move up in the world, but not in a way that doesn't degrade themselves.
Yeah. I love, she goes, you'll be married at St. George's, of course. Lady Ensforward will host your wedding breakfast. We'll have to get you a stunning gown that'll get everybody talking. And we got to do this before the news of your sister's Scottish wedding reaches everybody's ears. 'Cause apparently you can get married quick in Scotland, in case you were wondering.
Oh yeah, and like Scotland, you just go over and like you can basically like at this time it was something about like you go over and you get like a hammer, like a hammer, like a silversmith could like marry you right over the border, and it takes like 3 or 4, I think it's like 4 days to get there or something.
Yeah.
So then you have like 4 days to get back. So like she had just enough time to really kind of like
Get it
clear
together.
the hurdle. Yeah. And so, it was going to take a while. Maybe not 4 days. Maybe it was more like a week, but whatever. So she had just enough time to get it through.
Yeah.
She had her like 3 weeks, and that was about it.
So between Kat and the Duchess, it's a social event. She was basically shuffled around because they got to do it quick. So Sorsha shows up. She surprises her. And they're like, oh, do you think Blair will be coming? And Kat's like, yeah, she's not going to leave Derbyshire for at least 7 months. And Sorsha goes, they've been married 3 months. Are you saying she's expecting? And it's like, I don't know, maybe the men work quick. So Dash is going to walk Ree down the aisle. And Matthew's standing there and he goes, someone should be mad that her dad's not walking her down the aisle. But he goes, it might be better. And then my favorite part, quote, but at the very last moment, the doors of the church opened and Alec McQuarrie looked in across the threshold. He shot Matthew a look of consternation at the very thought of crossing the portal and into the church, but he shrugged and reached behind him. Quite unceremoniously, he dragged a man forward by the lapels of his coat and shoved him through the doors with a sheepish grin and winked at Rion before he shut the door behind the man. And so he just chucked her dad into a church.
Yep.
Oh my god. The dad walks her down. He did say like some nice words to his daughter. They go out and Alec does, wish her congratulations. And he goes, your father remembers a very peaceful ride in Bodswell's fine coach. In case you were wondering.
Oh yeah, and it added that at one point when Matthew went up to talk to her dad in Scotland, her dad said that like he never worried about Ree, because he always knew she was going to be the most competent one in the family to get something done, basically.
Yeah.
So like that was why, and I'm just like, that's still a cop out, dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go team Alec for enchanting this guy and making him be at his daughter's wedding you should have been in at the first place.
Agreed. They have a very nice wedding day and all of this stuff, and they go to his house in Derbyshire, and guess who's there? His friend James, with his pregnant wife. Don't worry, they hook up again as soon as they get upstairs. There's like he talks about it, he goes, I waited till our wedding day to have her again. I'm gonna enjoy myself. James and Matthew have like a little heart to heart, and it all ends well, and the end.
Oh, but wait, we forgot something in between. We forgot one, Alec, he walked away from the wedding knowing that he wasn't there. Remember like how he doesn't fit in there, but also the last meetup was Callista.
Oh, yes.
Because that was one hell of a meetup.
Oh, yes. It was at not the wedding breakfast, but the actual party.
Yeah, the Duchess's party.
The Duchess's party. Callista showed up. There was going to be another wolf battle. Was probably not going to go well. It all happens in the gardens, too. I love that. There's just, always in the gardens. And basically, oh, yeah, this is where the wolves all find out that Ree is a witch. Because they're about to fight, and she just, it's like, nope. Wind away, wind away. Fog us in, which is so helpful.
Yeah, and the thing is like the guys are also kind of pissed off about their like Wes's scarred face now, and they're all like roar roar roar, and she's just like, dude, I can fight my own battles.
Yeah,
I got this. And Dash is going, yeah, pretty much.
he's just like, can you shock more people besides me? Just more people. And she she basically shows Callista that she can protect Matthew because she's worried about him, and it's the sweetest thing.
I mean, especially since like now, she can tell he's no longer a vampire.
Yes.
He's no longer one of her children, and that's scary if you've been like with someone for 650 years plus.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that's a huge betrayal of everything you knew, and the person didn't say anything, which in turn is the same thing that James did to him. So it's this whole thing,
but imagine how hard. Like he mentioned Matthew when he tells Alec, he realized why James didn't tell him. He goes, it's hard to tell someone that they could have it, but you don't know. Like it's like, oh, I came back to life, but you have to find your true love, which,
right.
How long is that going to take? Probably another book, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, but the thing was, like, Callista is the fact that, like, with Callista, she's happy with what she wants. She doesn't want to find true love.
Yeah.
What she is and who she is good for her.
Yes.
And it works. And I like the fact that, like, Callista is, like, challenging her about it, and Rhee's like, you can't stop me. And it says, Callista could move with so much speed that no one could see her, yet when her body coiled for motion, Rihanna called quickly to the heavens and shot 6 heavy spears of ice into the ground at the woman's feet. Matthew could do no more than gasp as he watched, helpless, as Rihanna stopped the vampire's advances. Callista looked down, astounded to find herself trapped in a web of icicles that had sliced through her gown into the earth. She narrowed her eyes. Do you think this will stop me? She asked directly. No, but I have more, and you can either accept that I will win this battle or you can continue. Her voice didn't quiver, not even once. The vampire jerked her skirts free of the heavy spears with more than a little effort and torn fabric. But before Callista could fully remove the last icicle, Rhee spun her finger in the air as she blew it across and a whirlwind erupted around Callista. The woman shrieked as that one stake held her fixed to the ground and the swirling wind spun her around and around until her legs were tied up beyond a point she could escape from within her skirts. Callista, Matthew tried again. It doesn't have to be this way. The vampire's gaze swung toward Matthew again, and Rhee saw more than a hint of pain within the depths of Callista's eyes this time. If the woman had a heart, it would certainly have been breaking. I made you, she cried. You did, and I will thank you until the day I die, he said, his tone sincere, his voice over his heart. But you will die, she asked softly. Yes, I will, but I will also live and love and have children, and I will still be your friend. And she, not with her, Callista spat at Rhee. Rhee peered down at her fingernails, trying not to peer at bored and concerned, but Callista moved in one last feeble attempt to win. She jumped forward as much as her trap skirts would allow and reached for Matthew. That was Rhee when I finally had enough. She closed her eyes and brought down the biggest bolt of lightning she had ever summoned. The bolt shot through the air as though in slow motion, moving in zigzag pattern until the glowing spear of energy just stopped just above her head. That's when she notices that it's not anger, it's love, and it's pain, and it's a breaking of an entire family.
Yeah.
Because love gave him a family, but it also broke him from his family. And I think that's a really good metaphor for a lot of times what marriage is. You're breaking from your one family to go to another one. It doesn't stop you from loving your family, but your priorities have to shift.
Oh, yeah. Also, can you imagine being at that ball? What the fuck do outsiders think? Because you're like, wow, where did this storm come from?
Right?
It's weird. And they take her home, and you see the acceptance between the two women.
Yeah, and you also see that, like, the acceptance of Callista is no longer going to have a connection with him. Anyone that hears that, I'm sorry, that was probably my dog having coughing issues. But, like, it's something that just kind of happens, and it's sad, and it's horrible.
I think that's actually a better way to end it. Is with their
I think
fight.
so too.
Because I thought that's where it was going to end, and then it didn't. And I was like,
and then
okay.
You saw Blair and James.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it would have been a better ending in some ways.
It was but it kind of feels like there's a setup for another thing.
Oh, it is.
Of course.
The next book in the series is fairly obvious if you read some of the clues within the book.
Oh yeah. Can I guess?
Yes.
It's Alec and Sorsha.
I think that's what it is, yeah. I think that's the one that was the next book in the series. I can't remember if it was that one.
Because she put the flower, she did the flower in his lapel.
Yep. Sorsha wants a wolf.
Yes.
she's mad to have a werewolf. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
When she doesn't get a werewolf?
Yes. Like, I really want to see that because it's like, so in the series, it's Never Been Bit.
Yes.
That's the last one in the series. And that's the one that was Alex and Sorsha. So there's 3 in the Gentleman Vampire series, which is kind of like a spin-off. And then there is the 3 in the Westfield Wolves series, which is Benjamin's family and stuff like that. But what I love also about these books is the titles. The titles are great. A Certain Wolfish Charm, Tall, Dark, and Wolfish, The Wolf Next Door, The Taming of the Wolf, The Wolf Who Loved Me, Wolfishly Yours, and then you've got It Happened One Bite, In the Heat of the Bite, and Never Been Bit.
They're just so clever.
I know, I love them. The authors, it says the names are Tammy Faulkner and Jodi Pearson. They write for the Heart of Carolina, which is the RWA in North Carolina. That's where they were in. Like, there's been nothing updated since 2012, so
we don't know what happened. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's been like no one knows, and I really want to know. Like, I seriously want to know because, I actually emailed Tammy. I actually emailed her. And I was like, I'm doing a whole month on Lydia Dare. I wanted to let you know I couldn't find your writing partner, but I want you to be aware that, this is what I was doing, because I was like, I feel like this is a niche of writing that really needs to have more focus on because I love the idea of combining, like, historical and paranormal. There's so many things you can do with it.
So, yeah, Ava Stone, I went to her website.
But see, the funny thing is it says Ava Stone, right? But in the original ones, it says her name is Jodi Pearson, so do you see my confusion?
Yeah. Interesting. I just went to their website. I think...
Yeah, that's what I did too. But, like, on one of their websites it said Jodi Pearson, on the other one it said Ava Stone on one page.
I'm gonna guess they decided to do a limited run and then go to their other projects. That's what I would like to think the nice thing is. Or, because these all came out in, like, 2 years?
Yeah. Like, I know they sold them as, like, a series run. Like, I know that, like, the Vampire series came, like... I think it was like March, April, May. Yeah, but I think it was like March, April, May is when they came out. So they came out in a run that way.
That would be my guess. It was just a limited run that they did.
But you see, now it's hard to know because there's like...
No, they promised another book!
Yes.
With Archer and Sophie. I want it!
See?
I hate this!
Now you know why I'm in pain.
This is the Maureen Smith issue all over again. I want to finish the Denver Rebels hockey series, but I can't because the last book's not out. And I might have read the other ones like 3 times.
I know your pain. Now you see why I'm like, but there was more to come. What the hell happened?
Murder. Is she on Twitter?
I have no idea. God. I think so. I said profile on Twitter, so.
There.
Ava Stone, yeah. Ava_Stone.
Yes. Can I tweet at her?
Run with it. I usually don't, but because it's my podcast, so I usually don't. But like, but I want more.
I'm gonna tweet from my personal account.
Yeah.
Just so I'm less embarrassed.
I'm like, but I wanna.
But I would like it.
I wanna finish the series is out. And I like Archer. Archer was so fun.
Yes. Oh my god, Archer is Rathorn. He is hilarious and snarky.
He's the leash guy.
Yes.
Woof woof.
Yeah, I feel like we just gotta tweet at them and see what's gonna happen.
Be like, anybody gonna come up and finish it off?
Do they have... let's look at content. Oh, they have a Twitter.
Do they?
Yes. They haven't...
updated it since like 2012?
They haven't tweeted since 2015.
Ooh, hey, they went up. That's better than their website because their website was 2012.
Have people been...
Because, like, I read these books probably back when they were first printed or thereabouts because they were at my local library. Mm-hmm. And I said this in the last one, but this is how I found Tessa Dare. Ah. I thought Tessa Dare was Lydia Dare because I saw the last name Dare when I was pulling things off the shelf, and I went, oh my god, they're different, but great, thank you. Because that's how I roll. I don't know the difference, apparently.
I've started books because my library, like, they were included in the list because they were similar. Mm-hmm. And I've started reading it, and I was like, oh, huh. Okay. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Let's not lie. We all get burned by free Amazon books at any given time. I just got burned by one. I cannot finish it. What is it? I got it for free. It wasn't even on Amazon. What is it? Let me open my Kindle. Oh, look! I have the first 3 books already on my Kindle. Oh, it's called Branded. And I'm not a fan of it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty far into it. How far into it am I? I am halfway through. And I don't think I'm going to finish it. It takes a lot for me not to finish things.
So a long time ago, Lydia Dare told me on Twitter, if you don't like something, you don't have to finish it because you don't have to invest that much time in it because you're doing it for fun. Because I reviewed it under a different name and stuff once upon a time at a blog. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not obligated to finish this dumb.
I can't help it.
I try not to finish, but I also don't feel like I have to anymore. Because there are some things that are just not going to work for me for a number of reasons. And so I'm just like, I'm not going to kill myself trying to do that.
Normally, I'll like at least finish the book. Because I read pretty fast. Like, I probably read this in 4 hours, if that.
Yeah, same.
But this one, it's just degrading. I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. It's just degrading. And I was just like, I was hoping it would change. And it, like, because it also deals with, like, wolves. And I was just like, I thought it would get better. But No, and then it got worse. It got, like, way worse. Like, it starts off with non-consensual sex. And then it goes with her selling her body for, like, to get medicine for a child. And then it just gets worse.
And you're like, no, thank you.
It's worse than the cat books. Because I read 3 of those.
Okay, to everyone, the cat books are Laura Lee's breeds.
Cat books.
But they're not just cats. They have wolves.
Cats.
They have other breeds too.
Cats.
Many different cats. Well, yes, you read the first 3, which were all cats, so I will give you that. And you didn't get to the really batshit books yet either.
No, because you warned me. You and Kelly from Boobies and Noobies were like, girl, don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm really into,
Dark Angel fanfiction?
No.
Well, you can't tell me it's not Dark Angel fanfiction.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. The way they're described, does it not sound like when you get to the 2nd season of Dark Angel,
I don't think I've seen it.
People okay, so Dark Angel is where they gene splice people with animals.
I'm not here for this.
It's a lot like the breeds, but it's actually a pretty good show. It stars Jessica Alba and Michael Weatherly. They were dating at the time, apparently. But anyway, because, Michael Weatherly's kind of gross that way. Anyway, so, because there's like 20 years difference or something, so to be fair.
Wait, the guy from NCIS?
Yeah.
Really?
He was dating Jessica Alba at the time. And, Jessica Alba was pretty young when Dark Angel was on, so I was like,
he's 52 right now. I think there's 10 years difference?
Yeah, but I mean, it felt like it was yeah.
10 plus.
Yeah. He doesn't have the best track record when it comes to women anyway. But
no, didn't he almost get kicked off his show?
Yes. Yes, because Elijah Dushku said, this is bullshit. But yeah, so Dark Angel, though, as a series is really good. I saw it long after it was on. I just I saw it on TV one day and I was like, oh, I like this. So I watched it. And I got the DVDs because oh, this shit's pretty cool. And then it ended on a cliffhanger because it's Fox and
canceled.
Fox decides, yeah. If you watch Dark Angel and then you remember the Breeds book, it's fucking Dark Angel fanfiction style. A lot of it is very similar because you see it later on, but some of the ones that don't look like human who have very obvious animal genotypes and stuff like that, you see it on their body and their face and their features and stuff.
Oh, I've been reading Lisa Renee Jones still, trying to finish those ones. Sawyer Bennett, I got distracted by LP Dover again. Oh, I got into Sawyer Bennett had another series, so I'm all over the place. My Goodreads says I'm reading 27 books.
Oh, I always forget to actually finish what I'm reading and what not reading, so I don't know what mine say.
It's good because Kindle will update it. When you finish, they'll be like, "What did you think?" I'm like, "Thanks,
yeah.
Kindle."
Oh no. Yeah, I do that, but then I forget to do it because I'm like, well, I don't want to put the review before I put it on the internet, and then I'm like, before I put it on the review here, and I'm like, oh, right, uh-huh. And then I forget about it, and I got to go backwards. Sometimes I just give them like star ratings at that point.
That's
But
all I do. But we
and
probably should end this because it's 3 hours.
yeah, but like I can add some of this stuff for the
Patreon.
bonus content stuff. Yeah,
That's true.
because like I've been reading Erica Ridley.
I haven't heard that.
She writes historical romance, and she's got something called like the 12 Dukes of Christmas.
Have
and
you seen
and
Kelly's...
most of them are free.
Ooh, Kelly does the 12 like the
Yeah.
yeah, she has a song. Like it's
I
an
know.
actual good song.
I know. By the way, Kelly is one of my patrons now, so hi Kelly.
Hi Kelly. What else?
I love Kelly.
She's the best.
She's so sweet. She's always supported this podcast for as long as it's been around.
She is the best.
Like she's always kind of put forward the best things for us.
Oh, I have another. I think I told you about this one last time. Piper Rain, where she has the Bailey series up in Alaska.
Yeah.
Megan March, I think I've caught up on hers. I got started working a lot, and Halloween is big. Oh, I have a series to talk to you about. It's about bear shifters.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. I really enjoy having Courtney on, and I appreciate that she answers the call whenever we have questions. We're thinking about doing a Patreon with Kissing the Coronavirus, which I know everyone has been talking about it, but I'm very interested in to see what happens, and I would like to see how Courtney and I respond to that. If you guys want to hear it, let me know. You can always find me at Twitter at Damsels Podcast. You can also find me on Facebook, Damsels Podcast. Email me, damselspodcast@gmail.com. There's even a LinkedIn company page if you guys are interested now, and it kind of talks about the behind the scenes aspect of creating the website and the podcast and how that kind of works together. And finally, you can find us at Damsels Podcast on Instagram, and there's a couple new things on the Instagram. So I've decided to start doing some mini reviews at the suggestion of actually Sarah. So I think it's a great idea, and I read so many books that don't make it onto the podcast. I've got a backlog that I still haven't reviewed, so I think it would be great to have that. So I'm going to be doing like those this month. I've done a couple not Christmas, wrong time of the year. Sorry, in Germany they're already selling Christmas stuff, and so my brain just went to Christmas. But I've done a couple Halloween type episodes. I guess mini reviews. And Patreon has a bunch of reviews for smaller short stories that I enjoyed. There's going to be 3 this month. Usually there's around 2 or 3. And I release, like I said before, the extra tidbits from episodes. I also do some other short written reviews, and I communicate and I try and find stuff for you guys to have. You can find that at patreon.com/damselspodcast. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3, see how to find me. Okay, I appreciate you guys coming through. I hope you guys liked the episode. It's Halloween soon, and I want everyone to have fun. And if you're not into Halloween and you're more into Day of the Dead, or there's another religious holiday around it, please enjoy it too. To me, Halloween encompasses all of that. It's just a celebration of remembering and being alive and enjoying it. And I think sometimes we definitely need that right now because the world is on fire, to say the least. And I just feel like everybody should have fun in life, right? Life is too hard and it sucks, and no one needs to have that kind of negativity. And if you really want to find out the short story and the story series that Courtney suggested, you gotta sign on to Patreon. Yeah, it's a little thing, right? Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy your day, your week, your month, whenever you're listening to this. And please remember to fill out the form by November 30th. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy your moments of happiness. Bye, guys.